Live my best
All right.
life.
Audio's going. Video's going. Let me actually go to the control room. I was checking something else. I may have been to talk a little about why the stream is later today. I may have been double checking what our revenue for last month was, because that'll be an infusion we get soon. Because I think I'm gonna buy a new UPS. So I've had the one that my PCs are plugged into, or my one PC, because I haven't unpacked my old machines and plugged them into anything yet. My PC and my monitors are plugged into a device, which I've had for a couple of years now, and it gets a fairly robust amount of usage in Florida. Tends to thunderstorm a lot in the whatchamacallits, the summer. You're gonna get started with all your cool, sweet tutorials. Action. But lately it's been having a problem with its runtime, as in it doesn't have any.
Oh no.
I'm supposed to, for the rating of this device, I'm supposed to get like 5 to 10 minutes off the amount of devices I've got plugged into it, and I've been getting nothing. So that's bad. But the last couple of times the power went out, including last night when Let's Talk FGO was upended for a few minutes, like 10, 15 minutes, while I had to start recovery file process and stuff and wait for my Wi-Fi and router to boot back up. It started making like error tones, you know, like charge fault and not processing correctly, so I think it may just be fucked, and I may have to just skip from trying to dig up a replacement battery, which is very hard. You'd think, being an Amazon Basics model, there would just be like a little option right there to buy a new battery, but no. I have not yet found a seller for the battery for this model direct. So I might just be buying just a new fucking UPS.
Oh. How much was the UPS, by the way?
What? You broke up a little there for me.
Sorry, how much was an UPS?
So the like low-level Amazon Basic model I got are like, depending on the timing, because the prices can shift a little on Amazon, it's usually like 50 or 60 bucks. It's not an excessive investment, but it's definitely like, well, it's a little bit of chunk of change to spend on one item. And that's just for, you know, me. I have, you know, basic, like, it's like 4 plugs with battery, 4 plugs with surge protection. So much voltage and stuff. I did a lot of research before I got the first one. There's a whole lot of different little, whatchamacallits. There's a lot of different little factors for your UPS features. This was one of the smaller. I don't think it was the cheapest, but it was one of the smaller models that has the appropriate amount of power to basically like run one device and maybe a couple monitors. You know, I just need something that when the power flicks off, I don't, you know, lose everything. And 2, if the power actually goes out, I have enough time to be like, oh, okay, the power's going out. Let's close everything properly and shut this down. Which I have enjoyed for several years, but like I said, not recently. Time to get a new one, I guess.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. I mean, I already acquired one extra set of supplies today. As Lucky is playing Uncharted 3, you can tell that I actually started playing Uncharted 3 also, so he can go until he catches up with me. That was a very weird stream because I had not yet perfected my setup. So I was using my old phone cord, so what I had to do was, like, where my headphones reversed, I had to swap the left and right, and sit backwards with my mic arm, like, stretched around me from the opposite side and tilted towards me, which means I could not see the screen at all. And if I power turned too hard, I would, you know, pop the cables out and bump my mic arm, which I evidently did enough for it to pop out. You know, the clamp came unstuck and it fell down for a little bit. That was funny. I think it was in the middle of this first bit, too, actually, somewhere.
Somewhere.
Sure. Yeah, so to resolve that, I ordered off Amazon a much longer and stronger audio cord for about $5. I got a 10-foot, 3-meter cord. But earlier with Lucky, it's got nylon braided exterior, reinforced steel casing, gold-plated tips. So it's supposed to be some pretty serious audio technology. I have it plugged in right now just to see if it works, and it works fine. So it should give me plenty of room to actually, like, position my chair, see the screen, work with my mic arm normally, and also probably look at my monitors. So we should have a better stream on Monday.
Yay.
Assuming it's not super stormy, because I don't think I can get an UPS by Monday. But it usually peters out by the later evening. It's mostly an afternoon thing when the heat peaks, and then it peters out as the day goes on. Like, it's technically, I think, still raining outside, but the actual, like, bands of thunderstorming has passed. So yeah. But all right, let's see. What do we want to jump into first?
Oh.
Also, I would like to once. Hey, chat, you there? You doing okay?
Yeah, it looks like we only got like 3 people, so probably not a lot.
Well, we did start early for the stream scheduling, but late for the stream normally because we had a delay.
Mm-hmm.
Me actually, I don't think I tweeted about this. Let me make sure to go tweet the stream really quick.
All right.
You were saying that.
Oh. I'm trying to think here if there's anything of note that is. Well, everyone's constantly mentioning it because, for reasons, I feel like it's kind of just a thing now. I don't know why. But Lucky's been looking into getting his scooter fixed, as usual. I heckin' started making some calls around. Apparently, there's not really a lot of places that deal with specifically electronic scooters. Usually they are in the bigger scooters or, you know, motorcycles, dirt bikes, quads, all that good stuff. And I'm just like, so I finally made a call to the actual company that makes it, Evercross, and hopefully I can get some feedback on that so I can get the back tire. Like I said, that's the thing about, like, you know, specialty parts and whatnot. It's hard just to go down to ye old shop and just pick one off the shelf.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not going to be too expensive. But I'll get back on my scooter and everyone can finally stop. Saying, "Hey, is your scooter fixed?" And I'm like, "Yes, my scooter is fixed."
Yeah, you have to kill the meme because I already killed my meme. I won.
Yeah.
And then Loth won the next week, so memes are dead. The people's champ.
So that is that. Like I said, that was one of the few things I did. I was actually planning on doing more. I actually had to clarify this with Omega earlier, but Lucky got into the blues a little bit. I started.
It happens.
I started I've been trying to catch up on my animes. I've been watching a lot this morning. I started with the I Did 10 Deities Only No Peace, which is interesting. The author is Amahara, the same guy who does Interspecies Reviewers. But and the manga is assisted by Coolkill. Everyone knows Coolkill. I don't shut up about Coolkill. And the premise of it was basically there's just these deities who fight demons, and it's kind of hilarious and stuff. But for some odd reason, at the end of the very first episode, there's a scene of sexual violence that I was not expecting at all, and it completely and utterly gut punched me. We're not necessarily gonna get onto, you know, the whys and hows of sexual violence in media and whatnot, but you gotta let a person know. You gotta let a person, you know, be able to digest it. I was not able to digest it in the time that mattered. It actually took me several hours to get over it. So I'm not at 100% right now. But speaking about other things, animes and whatnot, something actually I am very excited about is I think it was yesterday, I believe. Finally, the final Ava movie made it to Amazon Prime. You can oops, wrong way. You can finally watch all 4 movies like back to back to back, and they're all free on Amazon Prime. I'm like, yes, this is good. I will do this.
Yep. They're finally all out. Stuff happened.
Yep. So I'm going to. I don't know if I'm getting necessarily a marathon it. Like I wanted to do it this weekend, but like I said,
yeah, I know you hypothetically discussed that one, but then also you talked about you you had a rough moment when you got bamboozled.
Yeah, I got bamboozled. So I've done a lot of you know, just kind of staring into space,
yeah.
And you know,
it happens. You gotta. So I think we've talked about this a little before. I'm not necessarily for the way that like trigger warning got overused for that brief couple of years because it was really weird and but like content warnings are important.
Yeah,
letting people know, hey, just so you know, we're gonna talk or show you some shit. If you're not into that, please skip it.
Yeah, no, it's like, again, because that's the thing. Like, the thing about the scene is it came out of fucking nowhere. and ends on like no resolution. So it's
Which I'm
like,
gonna guess was probably the director's intended point, was to hit you with a cheap shot shock value. But
not well. This again, it's not necessarily, because it's done differently in the manga. The manga, it makes, well, I'm not gonna, I'm not trying to, glorify or validate, sexual violence, but the way that was done in the manga made more sense. It was part of an overarching scene of like violence and death and human nature. So I was like, okay, I still don't like this, but I understand what the point is. And
that's why I said the director, like the production team for the anime, it sounds like was, which has happened occasionally. We talked about this a lot with the response to the first couple episodes of Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
Because the light novel Goblin Slayer did not shy away from the fact that goblins are awful little shit fucks, and you should feel no sympathy when Goblin Slayer murders the fuck out of them.
Mm-hmm.
From horrible murder sex violence.
Mm-hmm.
But was not necessarily explicit in what murder sex violence was going on. It was more just like, yeah, no, it was goblins. They're real nasty.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of bad stuff's happening, guys. And apparently the Goblin Slayer manga is a lot more explicit and in your face about what's going on. And then the anime kind of ended up somewhere in the middle ground.
Yeah.
Where stuff still happens and people were not prepared for it. But it also does not do a blow by blow. Like there was I think we talked about this. There was a like insert chapter with separate other adventurers who all got horribly murder fucked by goblins in the light novel that the anime just skipped over.
Oh, that's right.
Like the anime was just like, that doesn't involve Goblin Slayer. We're just gonna allude to it so that people who know will still. Yeah, I think I did that a couple. People will know that it still happened, but we're not gonna show it on screen because we don't need to get into the guts of the problem.
Yeah. So.
Which is arguably like you should handle your topic sensitive.
Like I said, like I've talked about this before. I'm never like, as long as it fits the series and the premise and what it is, like use whatever. Just let me know ahead of time.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like I think both of us have been pretty clear that content-wise, anything that can happen in human experience should not be off limits for a writer.
Yeah.
But that also doesn't give you a free pass to have bad taste.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've basically spent most, like going back to what I was saying originally. I spent most of my. Oh, okay. Interesting. I can get back over here. I did not know that. I spent most of my day compartmentalizing that, because I had to sit down and understand. Because here's the thing, I don't want to like necessarily anytime I go anything, I don't want to be like, all right, no, this is just bad and they should feel bad and I hate it, because other than this scene, I was digging the fucking series, So I wanted to. So I did that. Like I said, I did some research. I looked at something. That's how I figured out Cool Kill was on, and I was like, oh yes, these character designs were familiar for an obvious reason. So, and then, I read the manga, read some stuff, understood, like, what was actually going on, and I was like, alright, okay, this is just an adaptation of, what's the word, faux pas. There we go. Fox pas, as the cool kids say.
I'm reminded of, and I don't know if you also follow OSP on Twitter, but I'm reminded of a thread Red put out the other day talking about how, and you can see this with her trope talks, she doesn't necessarily believe that, like, tropes are inherently bad, right? Like, no concept of a character or writing element or whatever is, like, necessarily inherently evil, just so long as you, and automatically makes a work suck, like you said earlier, unless it depends on the context.
Yeah.
Now, there are probably some tropes that, unless you have a very, very specific context, are probably always icky and you shouldn't do them. But some of those things have still happened anyway, so you need to, like, look at why stuff happens and not just, that happened, that was bad.
Yeah. But very important.
And I'm thinking just of, like you talking about, you just had to sit and stare into space. I'm reminded of, this would be, I would say, in a good way, but just, like, I'm reminded of just how emotionally exhausted and dead inside I was after Devilman Crybaby.
Well, yeah.
Like, that's just, like, you blitz those last couple episodes and you just have to lay on the ground and contemplate the universe for a little bit.
Yeah. So, Yeah, so unfortunately, because oops, that was right. I was planning on maybe trying to get some things done today, get some art done, something, because like I had an idea and I was like, oh, I have an idea, I should get it down. But like as soon as that episode happened, I was done. I was literally done. I have not been able to do. Is that an item? That is a treasure. Hey, I've not been able to do anything. So unfortunately, there's no new fancy assets for me to show off or anything. I just blah.
Yeah, it happens. You know, creativity is a fleeting thing. You gotta be able to ready to encourage it. You gotta be ready to do it right, and sometimes it just gets slurped out of you by circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
Run, boy, run!
Oh. So
I think I did that exact same thing where I just tried to jump the fucking door.
I forgot. I'm not as tall as I was.
Yeah. So, like, he's playing Uncharted 3. I think we mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I played, 3-ish hours of it, including cutscenes. Which Lucky is excluding, obviously.
I mean, I could go through them, but then people would probably just be watching the same thing again.
Yeah, it's a little redundant, and also would possibly mean there'd be some deadball air of cutscenes playing while we talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little more proactive,
Mm-hmm.
Which I assume is what people want to be here for. I don't think anybody actually complained about that one time you were, like, in Final Fantasy XIV and just ran in circles for, like, 30 minutes of the episode, but meh. But yeah, so our Uncharted saga continues. I'm on 3 now. Overall, it seems like they've got their formula and they're trying to improve it,
Mm-hmm.
In general, everything seems, generally tighter.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they did a lot. You would have seen it earlier already, audience, when Lucky was doing the intro tutorial, which involved a lot of punching. They've done a lot to smooth out melee and kind of bring it back to, like, actually being useful. Like, a lot of enemies will actually bull rush at you and try to engage you in close combat now and not just shoot you. Though they'll still shoot you plenty. So much shooting you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's done a lot to, like, make it smooth. You feel. Yeah, he just did a fucking header into that table. Even if that's like a breakaway stunt table, that's still damn. Don't land head first, kids. I believe the idea is you want to land flat on your back and tuck your chin in a fall.
Well, like I said, Nathan Drake has a stubbornness as a fucking trait.
It's true. His noggin is unbreakable. His hands are steely. But yeah, so like I said, I especially after I talked quite a bit of shit in Uncharted 2 about how it was like, yeah, they just don't let you punch a lot of enemies. I'm wondering if critics perhaps said that when 2 came out, and it's like, yeah, you can't punch anybody anymore. So they went out of their way to, like, once again make punching more dynamic. They're kind of like rolling back how minimal the HUD is sometimes, like giving you more knowledge of the button prompts, right?
Uh-huh.
Like letting you know explicitly, hey, you need to press triangle to counter BT dubs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna guess I should look up when did the first Batman Arkham games come out?
Treasure. I figured there was be something right there.
Because I think those style of games were very much the, like, have a button appear over your head, over the guy's head. Holy shit, you're gonna die. Push this button. Like, obviously games have QTEs, but I feel like, not every game always has had explicit button prompts being like, yo, smash the button now.
No, I'm pretty sure fucking, what was it? Arkham Asylum was the first one?
Yeah.
So, I feel like that came out... When did that come out?
Man, Arkham Asylum. Release date 2009. Okay. So that would be around this time.
Okay, because yeah, the Uncharted 3, what, 2011?
Yeah, I'm speaking it right now. Yeah, 2011, and then 2 was, I think it was also 09? Yeah, it was also 09, so obviously it would have been in development while it was. So yeah, this would have been a couple years after that, and the whole internet, or not internet, the internet too, but also the whole game design world would have been able to look at this and go, oh, people like this. this happens a lot in video games. We already talked about how Uncharted probably established a lot of tropes for, third-person action-adventure games. And so it's only fair that they kind of steal stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, positive experience so far. Like, I've noted a couple of times, there are some moments which I do kind of feel like they, once again, are trying really hard to sell you on the cinema versus the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was, towards the end of our session first night, there was a long, drawn-out firefight where, like, Sully's covering you with an RPG. And it generally seemed like, while the game obviously will just murder you if you, sit there and do nothing, it really kind of wanted you to, like, move in a very slow way, so you wait until Sully decides to shoot some guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because hiding out doesn't really advance the plot, but if you move up too fast, there's just so many dudes and they shoot you. So it was kind of weird, but it wasn't necessarily unfun. It was just a little bit of complicated problem solving. Parts of it were unfun. That one guy who kept spawning above me, and I'm like, this time I'll get him. Fuck, he's not there yet. Damn you, guy. Show up. Show your face. But overall, pretty fun. There's a lot of little things. I talked about this as well. I feel like they've done a lot more to... We talk about Melee, right? Not just improve how it flows, but also integrate it into cinematics and stuff.
Mm.
Like, there are a lot of times in that first fight that you guys have seen Lucky do now, and you'll see me do a couple in the actual stream. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. How dare you? Where, like, you look like you're in a cutscene, but it wants you to do punches, and they're all manual. Like, you have to actually smash the punch button, and then Drake throws the punches. It feels way more interactive, which is a good quality usually.
Oh yeah, like actually some of those scenes I didn't realize. Like when you're fighting the big dude, you actually have to push forward to actually advance forward and whatnot.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that to you a couple of times. There was some, felt really good. There was some, cutscene interaction there.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna get lost like I did. You're just gonna pop through the hole. There you go.
Yeah, well, like I said, in this situation, yes, I am blessed with previous knowledge. Because fun fact, actually, I've only beat Uncharted 3 once.
Yeah, we definitely had that discussion on Monday of trying to you were trying to remember where the plot points would be.
Like I can remember how it ends, and I remember some set pieces, but I don't remember why you're in set pieces or whatever, or the puzzles or whatnot.
Which makes sense. I'm gonna guess you probably played it around the time it came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been 10 years since then, Lucky. So, that's fair.
Hmm. So, like I said,
even if you have a movie it's your favorite of all time, if you haven't seen it in 10 years, your brain is probably going to fuzz some of the details.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get this little fun, weird Bond villain shit.
This lady is a fucking Bond villain.
Yes, no, very much so. I mean, there's more occult trappings than are usually in James Bond, except for that one movie that was about the voodoo. Actually, though, if I remember Live and Let Die correctly, that one's pretty good. But yeah, so you'll probably hear more of our Uncharted 3 thoughts as we go on.
Mm-hmm.
I do generally kind of like the tone for the game. They're doing a lot of different stuff with the set pieces. Like we talked about this on stream, but Sully makes a joke when you go to the wilderness of France about being in the jungle, but it's not really a jungle,
Mm.
It's forested densely, but it's a different kind of set piece, and so they can throw in these classical European statues and things in there, for instance. And then you go into the manor, and the manor fire, and you have to escape the fire, where the fire's not really actively chasing you or hurting you, but it's just kind of being like, hey, go through the line or the fire will get you, and you're like, yeah, of course the fire will get me. It's kind of a subtle form of railroading,
I think it works because, like I said, no one wants to be in a burning house.
Yeah, it plays to human primal fears and expectations. Well, the wall's on fucking fire, so I'm not going that way. What do? Well, I'll go to the way that's not on fire yet.
Yeah. So
yeah, this is the part that really got me. The friggin' headlight sensors. The pressure plates. Okay, 4 pressure plates each for a tire. That's interesting. But now the light sensors. Who doesn't drive their car underground?
But yeah, no. So there's a set piece that I'm actually excited to get back to because like I said, I thought it was really fucking cool. It continues Nathan. Well, actually, I guess there's 2 technically. I guess one's a set piece and one is an action piece. I guess is the best way to call it. Where Nathan Drake continues to destroy vehicles.
Yep. I mean, there's one thing we know. If Nathan Drake gets in a vehicle or he goes to a place, a building, those things are destroyed. They're dead. You're never getting those back.
Mm-hmm.
Temple, it's going to fall down. Helicopter, it'll crash. Train, get wrecked. Plane, explode and fall in the ocean and die.
Oh, wait, I have to push down.
Yeah, this was a little... The directions you have to hold for this are a little weird. But yeah, it's the thing I was talking about, though. Like, this has got its, little action dynamic scene. It's got the cutscenes, but it's interactive. It's an engine. Very, very good perfected craft. When you can tell when the game developers have been doing this for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Get those extra little touches.
Yeah, honestly. By the way, when we get done with this, I'm probably not going to switch to Final Fantasy. I'm probably just going to go back to original Uncharted. I've been slowly playing it on, what was it? Crushing?
Yeah, I think it's Crushing. I'm trying to remember.
Oh yeah, this is okay.
Some time playing super hard.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you're right. They just automatically start shooting you. I shot you in the head.
It makes sense. It's shooting to.
Okay, because yeah, like when you get close, you just get sucked to the wall, and then they just see you, and it's like, what?
Yeah, there's a little bit of drawn out tutorial segments in here to be like, hey, is this your first Uncharted? Here's how you play.
Oh shit, bruh! What were you doing? Don't shoot me, bruh.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, where did that guy even come from? Was he behind the generator? Did he jump down? He may have jumped down like that second guy. Break the grapple. There's another thing that they do. There's, bonus attacks when you are near walls or objects.
Mm-hmm.
I threw a couple people out windows over the course of the stream and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Very dynamic.
Very, very nice.
I expect Lucky will catch up, though, because, like, as we usually say, he does at least skip the cutscenes, so no matter what you do, he's going faster than me.
Am I going down?
But there's another game in a series that I can talk about that involves some improvements to the things. So I have actually been, not as much as I want to, but I have been playing Mass Effect Andromeda over the past week. And overall, I'm going to guess that probably they had a lot like Mass Effect 3 had some of these problems. They had a rough launch with some rough technology, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Because the actual, like, core gameplay setup and stuff is perfectly fine. Actually, I think, like, going on to the next gen and building a new engine and stuff, like, BioWare did a lot to improve what Mass Effect does. Like, and I get, obviously, some of that makes sense because originally they wanted to do, like, procedural generation. They wanted to steal from No Man's Sky, and then they were like, we can't make this work. And, well, it turned out No Man's Sky couldn't make that work very well either. It's still a game I want to try after, however many years. But, yeah, that took them a long time to perfect that technology. But no, like, if you've never played Andromeda, like me originally, and got to understand it yourself, it's a lot more dynamic and mobile. You can straight up jump now, not just in Mass Effect 3. Shepard only gets as far as hopping over small gaps and jumping over cover, which starts in 2. So now, no, you have a full ass jump. You can dodge roll, of course. Which dodging was a key part of some ME3 stuff, but like it's integral here. You want to dodge. You've a standalone melee button. You can now actually equip different melee weapons. I haven't found any interesting melee weapons yet. I'll pick up an Asari sword or a Krogan hammer sometime.
Mm-hmm.
You can also like ground pound. If you're high in the sky, you can hold down the melee button to smash down stuff like that. You've got a different power selection. So all in all, like everything's a lot more like mobile, fluid, flexible. It's a classless system now. You just spend skill points in tech, biotics, or combat powers. You can assign shortcuts, blah blah blah, all that fun stuff. I think ammo powers are gone completely again, and it's just consumable. So it's not even like me one where you had mod them in. You just be like, I'm using cryo ammo now. They've also kind of reduced heavy weapons down to like some consumables. I haven't actually fired the Cobra RPG, but I've picked up a couple. I do want to say I do feel like kind of like in their streamlining everything else, some of the menus are not super great. Like to there is a quick switch button for weapons, but you have to have like actually pulled out both of them separately. If you just pull out your pistol and hold the switch button, it's like your only other weapon is a pistol. Okay, game, thanks. I have one more slot. If you could just cycle the slots, not just okay, fine, whatever. I did program it. It's fine. But overall, it's been a like gameplay wise very smooth. I like the customization. You can kind of switch your quote unquote profiles to switch class bonuses. The only thing I kind of regret is, while it's very fun, I did go with more of a traditional Vanguard type build, and one of your starting allies, companions, Cora, is also basically a Vanguard. So I'm like, I feel like we're doubling up a little right out the gate before we unlock some new people. But hey, you know, charging people, punching them, it's still fun. Do the old, you know, charge Nova wombo.
Mhm.
Charge Nova, get the fuck out of there. And I definitely like some of the new aesthetics they've got for some of the weapon designs and armor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've done a lot to like actually do the whole next gen update and stuff. The facial animations are better now. I think some of it was like their like rigging wasn't polished. I still think that compared to like playing Legendary Edition, they maybe went a little overboard with their facial capture technology.
Mm-hmm.
Because even after like patches and stuff, sometimes like it's realistic, but like it's hitting that uncanny valley thing where it's realistic but like creepily so.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
Like some of the facial animations are still a little like way too detailed. Like Ryder will like talk to somebody and then there'll be that awkward pause and like their eyes will flick around the room and I'm like, okay, that's realistic, but that's a little off-putting when we do like cutscene cam mode. It doesn't seem normal. But for the most part, it's pretty good, and you can tell they really did want to be way more expressive, because characters, even in Legendary Edition and in the first three Mass Effect, characters' faces are a little wooden. They didn't really go for heavy-duty facial modeling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Andromeda really did, and it shows, for better or worse. But overall, I think, like, one, they definitely dodged the problem of what Mass Effect 3 ending to handle very effectively. It's 600 years later. You're in Andromeda now. No going back. Sucks to be you. Your dad started this whole project. Oh no, he's dead. You're the Pathfinder now.
Ah!
Well, shit. Do I at least get a cool boat? Yes, you get cool boat. Okay. I do like the Tempest. It reminds me of the SR1 Normandy more, where it's kind of like streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to have a conversation with Liam about how the fuck he got the couch on the ship by himself.
Liam's a trip.
Liam's pretty fun. Also, want to throw this out there. This is something I noticed. I feel like there was a deliberate attempt by BioWare with voice casting to get a lot of people with a lot of different sounding accents in.
Yeah.
Cause like I'm gonna assume, you know, the OG BioWare casting for Mass Effect was just like, you know, whoever was at hand. Most everybody sounds, you know, vaguely American, some slight accents. You know, you get a little bit of extra effort. They got a lot of gruff voices for Krogans. They do a little bit of a reverb effect for like Turians and Quarians. The Quarians have a little bit of an accent generally, but you know that makes sense because of their like weird nomadic ways. But you know, everybody sounds like they're speaking mostly American English. In Andromeda, you know, I'm not quite sure where Liam's accent is supposed to be from, but he's got one. One of your bridge crew, Suvi, is, you know, the Irish redhead. Gee, who could have guessed?
Hey, Suvi.
Suvi talking to me about God on the bridge, and I'm like, okay, sure. You want to debate this over dinner? I've been flirting with everybody. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's Mass Effect. Everybody's horny.
Everyone's horny.
Flirt with the doctor. The doctor's like, whoa, I don't date patients. And I'm like, okay, call me later. Flirt with the female Turian. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I forgot her name. Shit.
It's with an N. Like I said, I haven't been playing the game very continuously, only a couple hours at a time. I got through the tutorial and then the first planet Eos they send you to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like not super deep on the plot, but I have most of the party members. So I've got Drac, I've got PB. PB's interesting. I can see where they were going with like they wanted to make a Liara character while also simultaneously making her completely different from Liara.
They literally put her on the opposite spectrum.
Yeah, like where Liara is like very, very studious and slow, and also she is But like in Mass Effect 1, she is super shy and has no idea what the fuck she's doing. And then she turns into the fucking Shadow Broker, and it's
Comes.
intelligence mastermind murder machine scientist.
Glad she's on your side.
Yeah. It's the craziest thing. Like in 3, she takes over what's Miranda's old office, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just running my entire Shadow Broker system through my, wall of monitors. In your XO's office. I got a bed back here. Is it okay?" Like, that's fine, honey.
They are just all like, this is like, yes, I am the XO. Do you have a problem, Shepard? And you're just like, nope.
It is interesting to see like how, because she's like the one party member you can't kill intentionally or unintentionally, she becomes such a crux character. Like Garrus and Tali are arguably the same. Like,
well, like
all things considered, like Garrus and Tali don't feel as important to the Quarians and Turians as they end up being in ME1.
Well, like you say that, but like I was about to say the same thing. It's like, yeah, when I think Mass Effect, I think Liara, Tali, and fucking oh man, Garrus. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to hold back a yawn there. It's like that's like the iconic like crew to me.
Yeah, and I think it's because the writers realized, because in 1, if you didn't do his pseudo loyalty quest weird thing before, or are very good at persuading, you can have to kill Rex, and then one of the 2 human squad mates will survive, but only one of them, and the game can't know who, and they're not interchangeable, funnily enough.
Yeah.
So the game really has to be like, well, fuck, nah. And honestly, the result is in 3, unfortunately, is that while you get them back as a playable squad mate, and they have some interesting subplots, like while they're one of your 2 starting squad mates, and then they end up basically, they end up basically hospitalized after the tutorial mission. They get beat up by a robot that becomes Edie's new body. It's apparently not awkward at all. But they end up hospitalized for a brief period, and Udina, who ends up the human counselor no matter what you do, because Anderson has to be on Earth. I have to be with the Earth people, Shepard, in their time of need. I'm played by Keith David, but I say I'm from London, because London is thematically important. I'm like, you sure don't sound like you're from London, Keith David. Shut up, Shepard. Punch more Reapers. Okay, boss. I'll punch the Reapers. So Udina puts forward that they should become a human Spectre too. So like there's some like interesting comparison there. Having done all the like extra DLC and stuff now with Ashley this time around, like she does develop a very interesting like kind of like strong like Lancer type foil to you. Like it definitely almost like a frenemies kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
With FemShep, like she's like, hey, you're my boss, and you're the coolest, but also, I kind of hate your guts a little because you're so awesome and cool and rad and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Hey, you wanna do a drinking contest in the bar, and then we get interrupted by some dude, and we just kick his ass. Because we're Spectres, we can kick people's ass in the bar. Nobody can stop us. So, like...
Charlie, your ass is in the way! Can I shoot through your legs, Charlie? I can!
Yeah. Oh, interesting. No collision for bullets on friendly. But yeah, so, like, Garrus and Tali don't seem like they're critical to the future of their races, but they kind of turn out that way.
Well, I mean, they are, like, the best way I can think of it is they are the person most closely associated with, you know, the galaxy's greatest fucking savior, Shepard.
Yeah. For Garrus, that definitely feels like how he ends up, like, because one of the first missions you do in 3 is the whole, is prior to Palaven, so you go to the Turian homeworld and are like, love that you just grab guns out of the air and smack people with them, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
lots of little details. So much love.
Actually, I'm testing out how good just running gun is here.
But yeah, so, like, basically, Garrus ends up in a position because the Turians are like, hey, you're our Reaper expert, you've done the most, and they're like, and Garrus is like, well, shit, if you're asking, here's what you can do. Normally, I just run around behind Shepard, and that solves problems. Okay, cool. And then the Turians are like, very well, we shall follow Shepard everywhere. We shall defeat the Reapers this way. And it probably works.
Probably.
But you get more into Tali's backstory in 2, and she would... I don't... Maybe it was an elevator conversation I didn't hear because elevators are way faster and you can skip them now. I feel like there were a lot more news briefs in elevators in ME1, but, like, Tully's dad is an admiral in the Korean fleet, so she's kind of important anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, in 3, they're like, well, we need to fill your father's slot, and guess what? You're our Reaper tech expert, so you're an admiral now. Congratulations.
Congratulations. It's dark. Oh,
Tully's
this way.
like, yay? Like, Rex turned out to be a big deal, too. I wonder if it was just, you know, conservation of caste. You know, if your party members are alive, you just keep involving them so it's simpler and you don't have to keep making up new characters, but because you already have to make up bullshit characters who suck to replace characters who are dead, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, by the way, every single time you like find a replacement character for a character you kill, they always suck way worse than whoever ended up dying earlier. Don't do it. Don't kill your party members. You'll just find sucky replacements in their way. But yeah, I was doing this all as like a metaphor to talk about like one that you know, you really get a lot of involvement from Liara Angle, but they did a lot to like make PB as your token Asari teammate way more different. So far, I don't think they've done enough with Drac to make him seem that different from Rex. He is another really fucking old Krogan dude who murders stuff.
I mean, to be fair, is there a lot of subtlety in the Krogan society? They can kind of seem just to be on a... Oh.
It's true, but it's kind of interesting how, I mean, I don't know, that probably would have shifted the balance of like the genders of all your teammates, but like you get a female Turian squad mate who's kind of a you know, she's kind of a scoundrelly Turian.
I love her.
So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. No, she's great. She you know, hides out in the armory and is like, yo, if you need something, call me up. I have supply lines, and I'm like, that sounds perfect. I love this. So like I felt like they could have been a little bit more bold. You do meet Drac's granddaughter on the Nexus, but obviously she's kind of important fixing it. She's got a job, so like it's cool. If I remember rightly, I think the last party member I haven't found yet is one of the Andromeda aliens, so that'll be neat.
Yeah, they introduced a new alien species.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, like plot-wise, I mean, it's not really groundbreaking. Hey, we went to a new galaxy, and turns out everything's fucked here too. Oh, is the padlock literally not spawned yet?
Yeah, no.
It's tied up. Okay, and then they pull it down.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to figure out. It's like, why couldn't you do that before?
It's so more guys can sneak up behind you. But yeah, like I was saying, the plot's not like super deep so far. It's like, hey, the Andromeda Project was an alternative to fighting the Reapers. What if we sent Citadel species to Andromeda, the Andromeda Galaxy, so they don't die? The Reapers can't get us at Andromeda, we guess.
We guess.
Theoretically. So we're just gonna go there. 600 years pass, even when you're using Mass Effect drives or whatever. And then it turns out everything's fucked. Because guess what? When you do that much time lag, conditions change.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Andromeda Initiative did not appropriately prepare for this. Like, okay, there's only so much you can prepare for like the Scourge, the like weird dark energy cloud. But the general idea of like, hey, these planets we thought were cool 600 years ago aren't cool anymore. What do we do? I guess we just throw the Pathfinder at it. All right, neat. That's me. Great. I'll do it. I'll fix everything. I do like... So, Andromeda feels like they clearly learned lessons from, like, Dragon Age, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, like, dialogue design and stuff. And arguably other elements, like, you know, gathering resources to craft and stuff just on the map. Things like that. Which is good. I think there's more to be learned there. Hey, BioWare, if you're listening and you're not completely done making whatever the next Mass Effect is, Mass Effect 5 or whatever, take another page from Dragon Age. Let me be whatever fucking race I want. You did it in multiplayer already. Just let me do that.
Well, honestly, I feel like whatever they do with the next Mass Effect is probably gonna be a new page. I'm kind of hoping that's what they do.
Yeah, like, I understand why you wouldn't want to do that for the original Mass Effect, right? Like, the gap between First Contact and Mass Effect 1 is very short, you know? Like, it's only, like, I think 30 or 40 years or something, so it's like, you really feel like humans are very new in this galaxy and don't know what the fuck we're doing, so, you know, playing a young, upcoming human officer kind of puts you in that position so you can like figure out the galaxy as you go. Well, guess what? Now we're 4 games into a beloved franchise. We talked about this last week. EA said on a investor sales call, hey, the Legendary Edition did way better than we projected, which means it's doing quite well. Like I said before, they don't make things that they don't think will do some kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, you're part of a beloved franchise that most people know the rules for, so you could stretch your legs a little. Like, I know that it took them a while to get to some fun stuff in Dragon Age. Like, you couldn't play as a Quarian until 3, and in 2, to simplify, because 2 came out so fast after 1, they made it so you could only play Hawk with a specific story in mind. That was, I guess we could argue that Dragon Age 2 was informed by kind of like Mass Effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's only natural then that Andromeda clearly learned from DA2 with the thing I love, where you don't just do Paragon and Renegade options. You have a whole emotional spectrum.
It's like 4, I think.
Yes.
Remember. Yeah.
You can be emotional, professional, casual, or whatever the 4th thing is that I never pick. It's usually pretty boring, but it's different from professional. I don't remember. It's the weird squiggly brain, square brain. You've got heart, cog brain, swirly brain, square brain. Maybe that's what the 4th dialogue path is, being a square. But like, as you go on and you make these choices, it also fills out Ryder's personality. So your choice of Ryder twin, because both exist, it's which one wakes up out of cryo first. Another fun little way to handle, similar to Hawk and their siblings. You can start shaping your dialogue, and I would assume that it's like DA2, where your choices do start to inform your ancillary dialogue as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it's hard to tell, because I kind of feel like on a little bit it's mostly the same, but also it could just be that I generally do the emotional or casual responses. Like, the impression I got kind of from Ryder's backstory is just, yeah, it was cool helping out archaeology, being an Alliance soldier, whatever. But then Dad was like, yo, you want to go explore Andromeda? And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. So that's generally how I've been playing Ryder so far. I was just like, I am here to explore, motherfuckers. I am the Pathfinder now. Dad's dead, because that's what happens in a video game. Dad's dead. It sucks.
My parents are dead.
Gives you that great tension with Cora, who ends up being like your fun designated Lancer character, where she's like, hey, so your dad was kind of like my mentor, and now he's dead, but he made you the Pathfinder. Never mind, it's because you were both dying horribly of oxygen deprivation, or you were anyway, so he had to take off his helmet and give it to you, so you didn't die horribly in front of his eyes or anything. I mean, I guess technically he probably could have told Sam to work with anyone, but I was dying, okay? It's one of those classic him or me things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you have some fun little rapport. I like Liam as well. He's just super casual. I did his dialogue. Everybody, when you first get access to wandering around the Tempest after you get some real free roam on, it's like, well, why did you come to Andromeda? And he's just like, I don't know, mate. I just I kind of felt like it. I was a cop. That didn't work out. Then I was crisis response, and then it was like, you want to go to Andromeda? And I was like, fuck yeah, I want to go to Andromeda.
One of my favorite bits in Andromeda is after you pick up the new alien. I can't think of it, but you basically go down. Him and the fucking alien are butt naked, talking about culture shit, and you're just all like, whoa, what's going on here? And they're just like, oh, sorry, hang on, let me put my clothes back on. You're like, wait, I didn't say you could put your pants back on. I'm just like, yes, this is the top tier content I want. No, yeah. Liam's great.
Yeah, no, and it the first thing he does when you meet him is like, hey, I still owe you that beer. Mm-hmm. Let's sit down on my couch and do drinks. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Meanwhile, Cora's like, I'm going to go into the biolab and raise plants because I'm clearly stressed. Like, okay. And PB is like, I'm going to work out of the escape pod. That's my style. I'm like, all right, okay, hold on. I'm not sure I like this.
Well, it makes sense for her.
Oh yeah,
character.
no, I'm sure it'll come up for her character later, like why she's so concerned. But I'm like, hold on, wait, we're gonna trust the crazy scientist in the escape pod bay.
It's like she's always thinking of a way out.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Drac is like, I'll be in the kitchen. All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
You know, the new pilot's not Joker, but he is Solarian. That's great.
Oh yeah,
He seems fun. Yeah, all in all, the characters so far seem fairly well written, at least for their roles and stuff. There's, you know, like the colony administration lady who's really bitchy with you, and then you actually start a new outpost on Eos, and she's like, "You did great, Pathfinder. I always knew you would." And you literally have a dialogue option, which is like, "Whoa, hold up. 5 minutes ago, you hated my guts. What the fuck?" Which I love. I love when you can do these kinds of things.
I think her response was that before you didn't have any results or something like that.
Yeah, basically she's like, well, before you hadn't done anything yet. I'm just saying, people are, you know, are on edge. We need results. If you can't bring me results, you're useless. And I'm like, okay, fair, but still, harshen my buzz a little. I'm going to go explore space now. Bye. But yeah, I think they've done some interesting things with the aesthetic. I like the game. Like I said, I like the mobility a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that it is fairly decently inspiring for me for like kind of setting up what kind of stuff should be possible for, like I said, that eventual Mass Effect hack I'm going to write. Like, obviously some of the weapons and tech won't carry over, though I think I did squeak in a couple of examples of some of the weapons. There were like a couple of guns that were in the regular universe anyway. Like that one Krogan shotgun with a giant though, so unfortunately, some of the cooler guns are explicitly made by the exiles who got kicked out with, you know, Andromeda tech. Though, it's a little weird because, like, I haven't even met those guys yet. Like, I just know that they exist, but I can research guns that they developed. That's a little weird. Guess we've got some stuff in the libraries.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's fun. All right, I need to go take a quick break.
All right.
Get up, walk around, splash some water in my face because it's very stuffy in my. I might open my window, but I will be right back. Lucky will keep you entertained by pushing this fireplace.
Yep, I fell down the hole. But yeah, so while Mega's thing is back, I'll talk about it. I played Andromeda when it first came out, and unfortunately, I never beat the entire Mass Effect 3 trilogy. So I never had the complete experience, but I like Mass Effect 1, I like Mass Effect 2, so when Andromeda comes, I was like, yeah, I'll give this a fair shot. And I played it. I played it to completion. Unfortunately, this was about the time that people started, like, talking about the facial rigs and whatnot and all that stuff, and so it was getting a lot of heat. Like, a lot. People were talking about how it's unplayable and stuff. I was like, no, it just looks a little fucking weird. It's, like, completely functional as a game, guys. But, you know, I was just the voice of one. And they were not, they're not having it. So I never really got a chance to... Ah, spiders! So I never really got the chance to, like, go on a deep dive on it. But... Oh, ooh, that's very green. I can breathe. Wait. Drake, why'd you go back underwater, Drake? Don't do that. Breathe, you fool. Breathe. Tread that water. But, oh god, this is so... What the hell? Game. Okay, I'm having a moment here. Oh, wait. Okay. I'm just dumb. But I enjoyed it. I like the story, because I've always personally loved stories where, you know, you start from something ruined and you have to build it up back to something. So doing that and Andromeda was nice. Can I make that jump? I can make that jump. But again, it's been so long since I played Andromeda. I think the thing that makes me the most upset, though, is that because so many people were butthurt. That's right, you were butthurt, you naysayers, that they actually canceled the future development plan. So there's just a lot of unfinished plot threads in there. Like the Quarian fleet. I'm just like, no! Okay, so guys, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to see if I can do this a bit more stealthily. So this might take me a few tries. If I can't, though, I'm just gonna murder everybody, because I'm good at that. Lucky's good at murder. Let's see here. Where is... Okay, maybe not. Okay, that did not work. Oh shit, hi guy. How you doing? Where is everybody? Hey! How's it going? Thank you. It's Drake! Punch! What are you doing? Stop that. There we go. Combat leapfrog. Oh, hi, shit. Bruh. You can't be doing these things. You gotta reload. Don't you Twitch reflect me, you asshole. Where's this other one? Where's this other one? How'd you see me? Stop that. There we go. Fool! Ah! That is... Oh. L1? Blah! There we go. Nice. See if anyone else is going to show up real quick here. Reload. Hua! See what we got going on here. Oh, yeah, let's take the AK. Probably gonna need that more. More grenades?
Okay, I'm back.
Dicks! Welcome back.
Got up, cooled off a little, hopefully a little better.
Oh, they're gonna just make me stay and do this. Okay.
Yep.
Bonk. Explosion. Ah, yes, okay. Now I know. But yeah, I was just talking about my thoughts on the Andromeda and whatnot, and how when the game first came out, it was a little bullshit because everyone seemed to hate it.
I mean, I saw some of the, like, clips of, like, the bad animations and stuff. Like, I definitely feel like it seemed like it was a little unpolished because it was being worked on by, like, 3 different studios that kind of all cludged together at the end. And I know that BioWare did have some weird problems with, like, oh, this studio's the A team, the B team, like, some kind of, like, elitism between groups working on projects. But yeah, honestly, I mean, like, we've been through, like, the whole, like, cyberpunk thing, you know? And we were both like, now the game's still great. I expect Andromeda was probably, as a game, perfectly fine in that first bit, but then it was, you know, it was really easy to make fun of on the internet, much like people doing clips of cyberpunk glitches. And, you know, it took them a little bit to do the balancing and patching. I also suspect, obviously, that, like, part of the problem is, right, that, like, people were already pre-butthurt about ME3, you know?
Yeah.
Which is not the correct way to handle your opinion or criticism of a franchise, but may explain why people were ready with, you know, to be like, oh no, Mass Effect sucks, no, BioWare's bad, which, I gotta be real, I've never understood that that desire for something to be bad, like, you and I both occasionally are like, listen, express cautious optimism. Always investigate your products first, you know, be ready to make sure they're correct. Don't be, you know, bamboozled by false promises or whatever, right? But I've never understood the attitude of wanting the thing to fail, right?
Right.
Like, oh, this... Yeah, you know, like, okay, you're upset that BioWare did something with ME3 or whatever. What do you want? It's happened already. And I got to do it again. That's way too much time and work. So, you know, were you like getting like flinched from like shooting or what with that guy when you were
I think he was
level?
punching me from the top and it was hitting me on the bottom. I don't know why.
Weird. Yeah, well, you punched him.
Bonk.
Yep. Really easy to just get in there and then just smash guy's face.
Oh, okay. I did not think he was there. I thought he was on the other side. Alrighty.
Free stealth.
But yeah,
But
no.
yeah, it's Andromeda's all right. Seems like.
Oh, hey, Rush.
I feel slightly like that, considering that you know you have a free build of powers. Like, I don't know if I've just missed some tutorials or some interfaces, but the fact that there seems to be just you assign powers to shortcuts for the most part seems like a little like, okay, well, I've got a lot of powers I can choose from. Am I supposed to just find 3 I want? Kind of a thing. I think the idea is that you're supposed to like swap your loadouts between missions in terms of both powers and your specialization or whatever, which is cool. It's just, it's a little like, gosh, but I can learn so many things. This is the guy who got spider melted, probably.
Yeah.
Still not how spiders work, by the way.
They're supernatural spiders.
Spiders.
Listen, we're 3 games in. Even I think at some Drake is like, nah, there's some bullshit. Bullshit happens. It might not be the most magical bullshit, but bullshit happens.
Yes.
Nazi zombies, you know, cosplaying Yetis.
Yeti cosplay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call it.
Exploding sap,
Jesus.
which made a man fucking invincible.
Oh yeah, something I definitely noticed about the where is it? I've noticed about Uncharted. Villains. I'm not gonna say anything about the third one, so we haven't beat it. But villains are usually killed by the thing they are seeking in the act of ultimate hubris.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier. Like considering just shoot, I can't remember her name. What was it? This lady from 3.
Bond villainous.
Yeah, her. Anyway, I don't remember her name off the top of my head. It's been like a week since I played that game. Like, I immediately was like, oh yeah, wow, she's way too over the top. She is absolutely going to get, like, ironically destroyed by something to get her showy comeuppance, because that's the way this sort of pulp thing works, you know, right? Like, you know, the Nazis do get the Ark of the Covenant, and then they open it like dumbasses and get their faces melted.
Yep. But yeah, no, I was just thinking about that earlier. Yeah, I did it. Puzzles.
Yeah. There's some... We've done a couple of puzzles in Uncharted 3. There's some interesting ones in here. I kind of like it, because they require you to do a little bit of work besides just look at book, do puzzle. But none of them seemed like really overly complicated. It was more just figuring out what the rules of the puzzle are.
Like, I remember one was usually just look at object in book, push things according to number in book. 2 got a little bit more complex with that, but it was still very much of look at book and either climb things, or you know, because you had like the mirror puzzle with and there, but
mostly it was just like, oh well, the book says that this item goes with this thing, just like matching them up. Occasionally, like, one of the pieces is scrubbed, so you have to match up the things in your notebook with all the others before you're like, ah, yeah, that one, okay. You know, like, you have to get everything to line up. This has some actual, like, logic puzzle shit in some of these. Or at the very least, like the instant you just did the Sabian script floor thing, you had to actually, like, look at your notes and then look at the floor and then figure out what the path was, because the path wasn't written out for you, literally.
Yeah.
Until you complete it, at which point it goes in his notebook. Fun.
Yep. Oh yeah, Drake though. What the fuck? Just literally like 3 turns. I have deciphered everything.
A very long sentence, by the way. I also like how Drake is like, well, he was a magic guy. Or we could just push the thing. Oh, yeah, we can push the thing. Right.
2 games. Drake's not... Drake has been corrupted by...
I mean, to be fair, I felt like there were times in 2 where he was overly skeptical. And I was like, Nathan Drake, you had a life-changing experience with Nazi zombie vampires. Nothing is off the table. And then he runs into a Yeti and he's like, fuck, nothing is off the table.
Nathan Drake, you need to get your own lighter.
Yeah, it's actually pretty important.
Oh, one of these days you're going to have to start carrying your own match. He does remark on it.
Yeah. I wonder... That's the kind of detail that, like, I bet would, like, come back in, like, 4, right? Like, they'd be like, and they, you know, because they do like these little touches.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of continuity with the characters. Really keep this going. Very important.
Well, I'm pretty sure in every game Nathan Drake has asked Sully for a light.
Yeah. Which means ultimately at some point you have to pay off that joke where, like, he goes to need a light and Sully's like, oh, hey, you need a light, and Nate's like, no, I've got this time. Or something. You know, you need those little payoffs in Subversion.
Mm-hmm.
Actually keep the characters flowing and developing.
Okay, thankfully, I was here with you, so I remember how to do this one. This one was a really nice one. I actually thought was really clever.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Because if people didn't watch the stream yet, once again, how dare you? But Lucky's demonstrating it now. Basically, the way it works is these weird... Now, don't ask me how these weird, like, obsidian floor tile things work, but...
Oh, I think I get how they work. They're pyramids. And basically, if they're pyramids, basically when you stand on one side, if only one side...
yeah, they've all got 4 sides, so they did something to the sides in the direction so they reflect.
Yeah. That's, like, the easiest way to think about it. Yeah, because, like, when I look at them like this, yeah, that's, like, they're, like, triangle shapes.
Yeah, they're weird little wedges or something. Yeah, they are pyramid.
Yeah, so basically...
Yeah, so Lucky's demonstrating it right now. Depending on what side you stand at, it's lit up with different symbols.
And then you stand in front of the line, and you're just like,
So you know what corresponds to what. So you're like, okay, so the lion is in the middle of those 4 symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once again, how this weird medieval device works to enter the code to solve the puzzle, no fucking idea, but it does.
Yep.
And honestly, once again, seen weirder. We had to do, ancient Buddhist Ultimate Ninja Warrior shit in 2.
Yeah, we did. All right, let me see here. So, but that goes there, and then...
But all right, we've been going for a while, and I think, because I did tuck some of that in the thumbnail. Speaking of, like, continual character arcs, I do want to mention some of the stuff I've been doing. I've been trying to catch up on TV a little bit lately, finally. So I have been watching the new Netflix She-Ra adaptation. I'm not done yet. I'm in the middle of season 4. There are 5 seasons. Though it is one of those things that seems like it happens a lot with, like, animation put on Netflix. It's really 4 seasons, but they split season 2 and 3 for production. Both of them are, like, 6 episodes long, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for whatever reason, the production got split. And Netflix is really anal about what counts as a season, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I have not. Speaking of seasons, no, I have not caught up on Shaman King yet. It's on my list, okay? I should probably do that next because it's shorter. I've been thinking I would do Castlevania next, but that's 4 seasons.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure you'll get through Castlevania actually pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't think they're very long seasons, and it seems like it's nice. Like, I actually watched the first little bit of that talking about the...
Ah, shit. Was it here?
The Castlevania scene, you know, you must be the Belmont, and they were like, oh, yeah, this happens in the middle of season 2, and I'm like, what? Oh, wow, okay. Man, Castlevania's going to cover a lot of stuff. That's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I don't want to say that these detailed diatribes get me into shows, but they kind of do. That's one of the reasons why I decided I really need to watch She-Ra, because Red has been gushing about it for forever for OSP.
Okay, it is the right one.
But yeah, so I've been watching. It's great. It's a great show, actually. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah. You would like it, definitely, Lucky.
Oh, okay. Might have to give it a roll then.
So, like, I talked about the characters, right? Like, I think that's one of the fundamental selling points, because, like, honestly, it's still fundamentally like it's rated Y7. It's a show that is, I don't want to say for kids, but it's in a great tendency of a lot of nostalgia cartoons. It is palatable to children, right?
Well, like I said, ever since
You could sit with if you were a parent who knew about like some classic He-Man or She-Ra shit, you could sit with your kid and watch the show, and you would be entertained, but you wouldn't be worried about maybe like overstepping a line or anything.
well,
right?
like I said, like honestly, that kind of mindset really got prevalent after fucking My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, because that was one of the selling points in its development, is they wanted something that a family could sit down and watch together, and everyone be invested in it in some way or fashion.
Avatar and MLP really revolutionized that aspect of like basically action adventure cartoons, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a weird gray area for kids cartoons for a long time in the 2000s, and then these shows come along and are like, yeah, no, you can totally set this up.
Honestly, I wonder if that was kind of like, I don't know if like here, like, because I'm thinking about it. Do you think like it was? What do you think came first? Did that it was socially accessible for like adults to be watching cartoons? Did that come before or after this kind of little, I don't want to say necessarily revolution in animation, but
I mean, so the problem is that I was not yet an adult when this started, right? Like I was in my late teens and stuff. Like, when did Avatar actually? ATLA. What was your first date? 2005. Yeah. So that actually would be the first season of Avatar. Then would be like my early teens. I would have been like 13 or 14. When was Friendship? Okay, that was way later. That was 2010. So that was in my late teens. I would definitely say probably then that like Avatar started the cycle, right? But it wasn't until the great brony revolution that everybody was like, oh no, this is just a thing. This is just a thing people do now, right?
Get up,
like that was arguably a look for My Little Pony. I think it was an ancillary audience, right? Like Avatar, I think was just the writers were like, okay, we're writing for Nickelodeon, so we need to make a show that's not going to break any ratings board, but we're going to write an action adventure show as adults that everybody can watch, right?
Right.
Just write a good story. And My Little Pony kind of, from what I understand, like from hearing like the showrunner Lauren Faust speak and stuff, was like kind of the same way. She was just like, I just wanted to write a story about the ponies that was like how I played with the toys when I was a kid, showing that, kids can. A recurring theme, I think, of this current revolution of like cartoons and stuff is kids can handle more than you think they can, right? Like we're very adventurous and can get pretty deep when we're young.
Oh yeah, no, the kids have thoughts when they're young. It's just usually they don't have the knowledge surrounding that thought, and maybe they can't necessarily follow said thoughts to its, what an adult would think is a conclusion. But no, kids think.
So that's definitely the kind of the place where this She-Ra reimagining has come from.
Okay.
I do believe that they planned to do the 4/5 seasons, and it is not that the show was abruptly cut off by the fact that they're doing a He-Man reboot cartoon, the first season of which is, I think, out now. But yeah, the show was intended to end at 5 seasons and is over. So I'm not caught up all the way. But
I just hope it has an actual conclusion then.
Yes, it sounds like it does. I'm not sure. I kind of know a little bit about the general gist of some stuff, but not everything, obviously, because I'm kind of like, I don't necessarily want to spoil myself, because here's the thing, right? I would say the show is very character-driven. The plot is not super complex. It's, once again, meant to be palatable to kids. Also, it's still homaging the original, She-Ra the Princess of Power cartoon from the 80s. So there's still an evil horde. There's still the rebellion crewed by princesses, of all things. Though I will say the princess thing is really just more like, it's definitely more like almost like a magical girl thing. I feel like this show is inspired as much by like classic 90s magical girl shows as the original 80s She-Ra cartoon, She-Ra literally, like, Adora, when she goes to She-Ra, literally has a classic magical girl transformation sequence. She explodes into like a rainbow silhouette and gets all her costume and stuff. Though also, Japan, take note, her transformation into She-Ra has a quality I would love to see more of, where she literally grows like a foot taller in the sequence. Please do that more. That's great. A couple of times they joke about She-Ra being like an 8-foot tall warrior woman. I don't think she's actually literally 8 feet tall, but yeah, she's fucking huge. It's great. I love it. So this is the kind of aesthetics we're going into. But like I said, it's still a show that's supposed to be palatable to children. So even though, like I said, she was an 8-foot tall warrior woman with a magic sword that cuts through everything, and she's strong enough to throw boulders the size of trucks, she never murders the shit out of any Horde soldiers, right? Like, This is no, like, gritty reboot for adults, you know? Very rare. I don't think she's ever cut a living person with the sword. Yeah, this is where we introduce the just stealing grenades off people, give them the old pop. Very fun. Now, there might be a character excuse for that. I believe this does go back to the original lore, but basically, our main character, Adora, is raised by the evil Horde, who are your generic bad guy evil army 101. They have spooky uniforms. They hate princesses and magic and bullshit. Their leader is Hordak. He's a large gremlin man. You know, it's all pretty typical, like I said. But Adora is raised by the Horde until she finds the magic sword, and then she realizes, hey, maybe being basically an elite mook sucks, and I don't want to do that. What if I was good? And that's how the story starts. But it means that she is... I love Adora's character because she's such a dork, right? Mm-hmm. She has absolutely no understanding of regular-ass life because she was literally raised by the Horde as a baby. There's an episode where one of the other characters, we meet her aunt, and then she talks about, blah, 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 you know, my brother Micah, Glimmer's dad. And Adora literally goes, oh, you're her dad's sister. And one of the other characters turned to her and says, like, Adora, did you not know what an aunt is? And she's like, no, actually, I was kind of hoping you'd explain it. Like, lots of those little gags, which I love. But, like, just in general, the beauty of this show is the character designs are really good. Like, everybody has distinctly different silhouettes and everything. And, you know, you can, if you want to talk about, like, you know, good messages for children, everybody has different body shapes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Adora is, I would say, you know, probably lean. We can definitely say Catra is lean and mean, but like one of the other main 3 good characters, Princess Glimmer, she's like a little bit on the heavier side. Mm-hmm. You know, she's not like chubby, but she's definitely drawn a little rounder. Mm-hmm. And you'd love this character, Bo. The other main character in the trio, Bo. Literally B-O-W, by the way, because he uses a bow. He's the one dude on the team, right? You'd love this guy. Like, he's black. Mm-hmm. He's the tech character. Ooh. He is also one of the swollest characters outside of, like, She-Ra herself. Like, he's got, you know, big biceps. Nice. And he's supposed to be a normal dude, but I suspect he has a secret superpower where he can only achieve his maximum power level when he's showing his midriff. He is always, in his normal costume, is a cut-off white tank top with a big red heart on it. During the obligatory prom episode in the first season, he does the whole get-up, right? Like, he's going as somebody's +1. He puts on the suit, the jacket, everything, and he's like, wait, something's not right. He rips off the undershirt. He's only wearing the jacket and vest, and he's showing his navel again.
That's great!
And in another episode, he's wearing, because he's kind of, you know, laying low, he's wearing like a white long-sleeve button-up collared shirt, and then, you know, bad stuff happens. He's like, oh no, I can't quite reach my bow under this dresser. What can I do? I have to rip off the bottom of my shirt so my abs are bared. And then he has enough flexibility to get his stuff. Oh, it's great. Yeah, so, like, every character is, like, really well written, really well voice acted. Like, everybody has very distinct, you know, vocal qualities and everything, and the cast is all really good. Though that's I suspect that's to be expected because the names I see the most in, like, voice direction list is usually the voice director is listed as Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who you know, is a very veteran voice actress. I know her most for her role as Motoko Kusanagi, but she's done a lot of work over the years.
God damn it.
And then occasionally I see voice directing by Sam Riegel, who you will know as Sam Riegel. Yeah. Who, another longtime veteran of the industry. And also you probably know him from doing funny voices on Critical Role as well. So, like, there's some... I haven't looked into the actual voice cast very well, but you can tell that the show is very well directed. It's
hang on, I think someone's yelling
written.
for me. Hang on.
All right, let's take a hang on. Lucky died while we were hanging on. I'll pause the audio. I think the stream is still going. How you doing, chat?
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back.
All right. Let's resume rolling audio. Let's see. You were busy dying in a fire, literally.
Ow! He punched me in the back of the head.
It happened. But yeah, so like I was saying, everybody is voice acted really well. All the characters are written very dynamically, and I like I said, I assume that's to make up for the fact that like the show's plot's not that deep. It's like, okay, there's an evil horde. They're trying to take over Etheria. She-Ra's like the long-lost savior hero that Adora inherited the title for, Magic Sword. Beat the shit out of everybody. Like I said, like as She-Ra, Adora like throws giant rocks and tank shots and stuff. It's pretty interesting. Though I'm gonna guess that she probably doesn't murder horde soldiers because she used to be one, and there's a little bit of residual, backlog there about like different stuff. There's some morality debates, right? Like, who's better than what now? Well, what'd you find, Lucky?
Fighting this dude, he made me drop my gun.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that now in the preview.
I did shoot him a bunch, though, but yeah, no, he made me drop my gun. I was like, oh, interesting.
To the also, the other thing for tips in chat, this is What's Up, not Let's Talk FGO. Try our Discord.
Fun fact, you see these people closing it, you try to shoot them? Oh, no, you can't shoot them.
Interesting. Ooh, so many bullets. Ow. Had a lot of bullets. But yeah, so She-Ra.
Yeah, She-Ra.
It's pretty good. Like I don't think there's a single character I've met, and like I said, I'm midway through the 4th out of 5 seasons. I haven't met a single character who I like disliked as a character concept. Some of them are awful people. I was like thinking about how I talk about the show. I was gonna say earlier, almost as like a joke, like Catra's the best, because Catra is one of my favorite characters. She is not the best though. She's kind of an awful person, but in that very realistic, like you understand why she's a kind of a terrible person most of the time, because she doesn't have any idea what the fuck she's doing in her life. They do mention earlier, like at one point, Catra's railing against the Horde forces losing to teenagers. So I assume everybody is like at most like 16 in this show.
Yeah.
Out of our core cast, like they're adults obviously, but like so, yeah, no, like on the one hand, I really love Catra's character arcs because she's a really like conflicted character dealing with a lot of stuff and figuring out what she wants out of life and dealing with the fact that her best friend / deeply repressed crush, Adora, has left the squad.
Oh, no.
Listen, guys, Netflix put this in their Representation Matters collection. But also, I'm a nerd who was raised on the internet. This subtext is just text. The first episode, when Adora is still with the Horde, Catra is sleeping at the foot of her bed, like a literal cat, but also it's very close. And then the first time they actually fight, Catra literally says, "You left me for this," talking about the whole princess situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear cut that there's some repressed feelings going on here. Also in that prom episode, Catra dresses very snazzily in a red male pattern suit. It's very great. No, Catra's great. She's a cat girl, which means she's also a gremlin most of the time. Like the thing she says most frequently whenever she runs into the good guys or Adora, she's like, "Hey Adora." She crawls out of the shadows. It's great. No, but like every character is really interesting and dynamically written. They all are performed very well. They have very distinct designs, and it's just a really well-made show that is very interesting to watch. I recommend it to anyone who is a fan of such things.
I'm definitely gonna have to give it a watch at some point.
I will say definitely, like, on the one hand, like, hopefully, like I said, it wraps up okay, but knowing that it's like done and concluded is definitely an easier like way to swallow. Like, oh yeah, no, just listen. I say they're 5 seasons, but they're like 13 episodes each, except for those middle 2, which are like 6. because 2 and 3 were basically split because that happens sometimes. Netflix, I don't know what you're doing. So it's like it's pretty palatable. They're like 20 minute episodes, you know, because it's on Netflix, but it's still, like I said, it is still made kind of like it would be a, and I think it is marked as a Netflix original. Yeah, it is. It's still made like it would be a normal air on TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Other than maybe there aren't so many cliffhangers for commercial breaks. Like the music is subtle but still really good. They mix some, like, you know, choir and orchestral pieces and recurring leitmotifs. So like occasionally they bust out the electric guitars and stuff. It's had some, you know, some deep cutting emotional moments. I've gotten verklempt a couple of times. You know, it's the good stuff.
Up where?
One of my favorite characters is also Scorpia, the evil princess, which is a plot point earlier. She talks about, oh yeah, I'm a princess. The Horde landed in my kingdom. We gave them our runestone, our magic rock that gives powers. It's really interesting, right? Like, Scorpia is a bad guy. Like, she's on the Horde side. After Adora leaves and Catra kind of gets promoted to elite Mook status, she ends up basically being like Catra's right-hand scorpion woman. Because, by the way, she's a scorpion woman. She has pincers and a scorpion tail. She's, in her own words, strong, loyal, and gives great hugs. You want her to press buttons, though? Not so good at that. The other thing, though, is that Scorpia is huge. Like, she doesn't have a lot of fight scenes with She-Ra. Usually she's bodying Bo and Princess Glimmer, you know, the other two members of the power trio, while Catra taunts Adora. But, like, I think she's got to be nearly as tall as She-Ra is. Kills it in a black dress during the prom episode, though. But, like, so she's kind of big, strong, a little dumb, very loyal. It's great. She's just so interesting and lovable in a way. And she's on the bad guy side when we start out on this. It's really interesting to see all this stuff go around. I think there's only really one character who I really want to punch in the face, and that's Shadow Weaver. But that's mostly because she is a textbook evil mentor, you know? She's she's Hordak's second in command when the show starts. She raised Adora and Catra from orphan child, which she has done horribly by constantly talking about how great and perfect Adora will be one day if she just listens to her, and constantly not being a source of positive reinforcement for Catra. Which really fucked up Catra's shit. BT dubs, in case you couldn't pick up on that. It's kind of why she's a bad person. Bad role models. And she just never stops being an emotional manipulator. Like, she was like the evil mentor to Glimmer's dad, Micah, when he was like a sorcerer. She's like a shitty mentor to Adora and then to Catra in like a really manipulative, self-serving, like, yes, you'll do great things, only if you listen to me. Shadow Weaver, I have to wear a mask because my face is really fucked up under here. And then later, when she kind of like gets displaced by Catra in the Horde's eyes, she quote unquote like defects back to the good guys and kind of ends up being Glimmer's like evil mentor. Like, oh, Glimmer, you could be so much stronger if you just listen to me. Don't listen to your friends. Listen to me, Shadow Weaver. I'm great. I used to be Light Spinner, you know.
You know, in hindsight, kicking a body down to the first floor probably would set everybody off.
Yes, no. If you kicked a guy off a second-story ledge and he smacked into that countertop there or whatever, people would be like, the fuck? Like, it wouldn't be like a classic Metal Gear Solid where you would go, what was that noise? It would be like, holy shit, somebody kicked Dave down the stairs. What the fuck? People also don't necessarily fly that far normally when you kick them. But, you know, like, I've talked about this before. I like to think of Uncharted where it is basically like a movie universe. Like, everything is like stuntmen selling it really hard. You can assume there's wire work involved. I remember this bit. These guys are squirrely. Ooh, exploded, though. That works.
Yeah, that's why I just figured out the best thing to do is usually just shoot them and then punch them.
Yeah.
It works really good.
Soften them up with bullets and then go in with your fist. But yeah, that's my, like, 30-second quick review of She-Ra. I'll let you know how I feel when I finish the series, because no, I'm only like halfway through season 4. I don't think I've been watching like 5 or 6 episodes a night, and you know, as I chill in the dark and grind FGO. It's good stuff. Like I said, next on my list is I might hit the first season of Shaman King, but I do want to actually watch Castlevania too. just
I would definitely say Castlevania. Like that's something that's something that I've watched and we can talk about.
Yeah. Obviously, I will say this. I was a big fan of both the original anime of Shaman King, and I've also read most of the manga. I actually own a couple of the volumes physically from back in the day. So, like, I'm kind of interested to see, where this new anime is going with stuff. That's always really interesting when they go back and kind of remake or reinvent the series, from, like, where they went away. Like what, Full Metal Alchemist ended up doing.
Oh, yeah.
And even the doing things kind of different. I'm very curious. Speaking of things coming back, I haven't actually sat down and read it yet, but I do know that to celebrate the anniversary, Tide Kubo's come back and he's done some more Bleach. Did a little preview chapter and actually is planning on launching a new story arc in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, especially since they did already say, I believe, that the anime is coming back as well to do the final arc. I just, like I said, I've been really busy like juggling different things and God, how much FGO grinding. We talked about it yesterday. It's hard to focus on some things like subtitles when you have to like push buttons and do other stuff. So yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how that goes because out of the classic big three, Bleach was always my personal favorite in terms of like style and story concepts.
Oh yeah.
I never really got into One Piece. You can probably blame 4Kids for that, for them having a really bad dub. Whereas Toonami, well, actually, funnily enough, Naruto picked up Toonami, so that was a acceptable like Saturday evening show, and then Adult Swim picked up Bleach, which was probably for the best because it means they didn't have to do so much about the blood that TV in Japan anyway didn't have to do, and they could also swear and stuff. Not that that really mattered because I ultimately caught up to Bleach and Naruto subtitled, but it's the thing that starts it. So yeah, it's really interesting to go back and do some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go find that chapter myself.
Yeah, I'll check it out. It seems like looking at his like little design elements and art style and stuff from the like preview art I've seen, it doesn't seem like Kubo's really lost his drawing touch or anything.
No,
he knows what he's doing still.
Kubo, like I said, he probably I'm pretty sure Kubo hasn't been sitting on his butt doing nothing. So yeah.
No, I know for sure he's been doing character designs for the Bleach Gacha game, but that's not quite the same as like sketching out chapters. But he did do Burn the Witch and all that stuff too. So hopefully honing his craft. Is on Viz for free. Okay, I'll definitely have to catch it up there then.
I'll definitely look at that. Bollocks. Look at me and my fucking heist crew.
Yeah, good stuff. It's fun. They have a lot of these, like, power quartet shots. It's good. A lot of good camera work and framing in Uncharted 3. So that's the anime stuff. Always good to see those interesting things come back. I still don't know when it is soon, but I have seen the trailer for JoJo Part 5 Stone Ocean anime came out. As you would expect from a JoJo anime, Jolene has a ripping theme.
God damn it.
A banger, as the kids say. Whoa.
What?
Sorry, the preview just caught up to you doing that aerial takedown from across the map.
And then they saw it.
You got to do that flying tackle from downtown. Yeah, no shit that guy saw. You may as well have shouted Lucha Libre as you did that. Holy shit.
Sky high flying justice bomb.
I'm glad they finally added the. We didn't talk about that earlier. I'm so glad they did add the hanging takedown. There's so much verticality in this game. It's good to actually get up there and. Ooh, yeah, you got that guy directly. Kind of get up there.
I barely missed the timing to hit that.
Also, we can throw back grenades. It's another thing we do.
Yep. I thought I did it, and I was like, nope. All right, let's try this again. All right, I do not see the other guy. So let's try this again from downtown. All right, that time it worked.
Across the map.
Hey, buddy.
Flying elbow in.
we wait. But yeah.
Stealth sequences also feel like they've improved their like composition and pacing a little bit better.
I try to stealth when I can.
Yeah, but I was talking earlier about like
What?
Did you get caught?
I didn't get caught, but when I went for
wow, that was very narrow. Missing that guy like around that corner.
Yeah, it's like I thought I was going for it. I was not.
And then you know, did a sliding nut punch to that one guy.
Drop it.
But yeah, I'm fairly certain that even when Part 5 comes out, I will not be watching it as it airs because I've mentioned this before. I still haven't, Part 6. I miscounted earlier. Sorry. I still haven't caught up on Part 5. Part 4 is as far as I've gotten.
Same.
I've seen all of that, and I watched a couple episodes of 5, but that was a little bit before the whole like crunch time for moving happened, so I got distracted and I have not stayed caught up. And I mean, I don't necessarily want to, like, I haven't watched all of it. I don't necessarily say anything super bad about it. Oh, that was hilarious. You threw that grenade back on yourself. Like, I kind of like that they're, like, we've talked about this before, I think, after I watched a few parts of JoJo. I do like how Araki really tries to make every single part, like, a completely different genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Phantom Blood is just a fucking Castlevania story, basically.
It is, yes.
Which I still appreciate, right? Like, I know some people actually don't care for the first 2 parts because they don't involve stands. I actually like the first 2 parts. I do think that, thinking about it now, because I did actually go back and rewatch it because it came back on Netflix, I do think that so far, Stardust Crusaders is my favorite part.
I'm trying to think.
Because, like, I like Diamond is Unbreakable because of the kind of, like, small-town mystery vibe it's going for. It's very atmospheric. But also, I've been, like, trying to rewatch that, and I find just, like, some of the smaller, like, character study stuff, I'm just like, yeah, this just doesn't resonate when I already remember these characters as well. Like, I kind of, it's got mystery elements, so once you already know the solution, it doesn't quite have the same bite.
Yeah, no, like, I'm trying to think. I don't know if Battle... Like, for me, it has to be between Battle Tendency and Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah, Battle Tendency is also really good as a pulp story.
Yeah. It's like, it's just weird and crazy. That's what that is. And, just, how it literally fucking ends is like, this is so batshit ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that was just the, like it was like, hey, you thought the conclusion of Phantom Blood with, like, Dio doing ice attacks and Jonathan fire punching and Dio revealing he has, laser beam eyes, totally a vampire power, bro. You thought that was crazy, and then, Dio comes back as a fucking floating head. They're like, no, the ultimate life form, and then you throw him in a volcano and he gets blasted into space forever.
Yep.
Or he will definitely never come back, for sure. Probably. Unless we decide he'll come back. I think we won't, but that is kind of a funny, like, quality, kind of the through line of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely very interesting, like, to look at Part 2 and think about it in the terms of, like, how little, like, Dio involvement there is, you know? But Araki was trying to do different things, and then he goes with 3, and he's like, fuck it, Dio's back. Also stands. Which, that's the other thing, like, Stardust Crusaders, I think, is very foundational, because that was, what,
hey, you can punch these guys, apparently.
Oh, yeah, you can punch those guys now. Cool.
They're a little bit...
His shoulders are fucking huge.
This guy gets a lot on, He's good at pushing me away, though, I'm realizing.
Yeah. He's got the pushy moves, but you can get in there a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems like you usually have to, like, he'll block your first punch, and then you have to counter and punch him. But it's good that you don't get, like, auto-countered and punched back.
Yeah, because...
Dead.
There we go.
Sully, step back from the man. I need to shoot him. It'll be much faster.
Shoot him!
Sully's like, nah, Nate, I got this. Punch him with my cigar. But yeah, I was gonna say that I like. When did the manga for Stardust Crusaders really come out? It was the late '80s, right?
I believe so.
Or is it the mid '80s? Yeah. But like, I thinking back, it's like so foundational for like a lot of the way we get with modern anime of like one dude, one power, right?
Right.
Like, stands were not a fully fledged idea yet, but it definitely set the a concept that has been enduring of like, hey, if you're in a a shonen action anime type thing, and everybody has unique superpowers because of plot stuff.
Oh, interesting. Can you only
MacGuffin
shoot from
energy.
right here? Oh, you can. All right.
They you just everybody's got a unique and individual power. Yay. Like,
Back-to-back same screams. I love it.
yeah. This is what I was talking about with the selling it. Like, they all sell the fall so hard. It's like, oh, well, gotta go over. And they have the little sniper lines which chase you exactly to the next safe spot. I'm gonna guess that that on Uncharted 3 they learned a lot from the train section about like boxing in the player without necessarily literally boxing in the player. Because I do feel like a lot of your little romps in 3 are a little more guided, but not necessarily making you feel like you're in a confined space. You just have to watch out for those guys with laser pointers you can't shoot. That guy you can't shoot. He's right there.
Thank you for that. I need to get cover though. I say cover! That is not cover.
That is one thing I didn't mention earlier about Andromeda that is a little weird, is they made cover a little more freeform. And sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm getting in cover or not. But it definitely, like I said, the mobility's way better. You don't get caught on anything in that game. You're just out there. You're loose in the wind, teleporting.
Hey. Punch. Okay. Ah! Clip there a little bit. But, yeah, again, like, I do want at some point to get through Golden Wind, because I'm in the same boat as you. I finished, Diamonds Unbreakable, and I'm like 2 episodes into Golden Wind, but I don't know, maybe, I think it was because it wasn't done. I feel like JoJo's best.
You weren't able to go for the full binge?
Yeah. I don't know why, but I always feel like JoJo's kind of the show you just want to binge.
I mean, I think it's definitely because the individual parts are, like, so basically self-contained. Like, everything is all together. It definitely feels better when you can just power through them all,
Yeah.
Like I said, other than the fact that I'm not caught up with Golden Wind, I don't think I would want to watch Stone Ocean as it airs, because I would be, like, waiting every week for yet another JoJo-style cliffhanger, especially because, like, the pacing of, like, manga chapters to anime episodes and stuff often means that, like a lot of, like, fights or character intros or whatever are split into a couple episodes, Like, for instance, in Stardust Crusaders, you know that the fight is usually a joke fight if it only lasts 1 episode. So I got my new headphone caught, pulled it out, plug it back in. It's very long. Okay, back. Yeah.
Ow.
Also, that watching Stardust Crusaders again reminded me of just how rad a lot of those fights are. Like, holy shit, Polnareff versus Anubis is like shot so well. This is the advantage of waiting so long, right? And putting all the appropriate money in it. You can really dial in your animation when it counts. And the soundtrack is always so jamming.
So jamming. Oh, there it is. Okay, interesting.
But, yeah. Like I said, I don't want to speak ill of Golden Wind, but I watched a couple episodes and I'm like, okay, genre's kind of cool. Golden Experience is weird, but it's not any weirder than, Josuke was with, like, Crazy Diamond. Oh, that does actually remind me, though. I have to double check if I'm not just imagining things, but I think that the version of Diamond is Unbreakable on Netflix it's still censored, but like the TV censorship, like everything's blacked out when bad stuff happens. But I think they redid the subs to be less litigation proof.
Interesting.
Because I remember when I watched it originally, it was the Crunchyroll version, so they truncated some of the stand names. Like, it was Shining Diamond, not Crazy Diamond. And I think it is Crazy Diamond in the subtitles. And I know for sure that they called out when Red Hot Chili Pepper first appears, right? In Crunchyroll subs, they just called him Chili Pepper. In the next Netflix subs, they were like full-blown Red Hot Chili Pepper. And I'm like, oh, neat.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Like I said, I watched back a couple episodes. That's a neat detail. Maybe Netflix is like, fuck it, we've got money.
I took a rocket straight up the bum.
It happens sometimes. Those rocket guys are very persistent. So much color. Such much playing. Wow.
Who else is shooting? It's you.
With all the gunplay and stuff going on, it does kind of, not directly, but it does kind of remind me of something else I was thinking about. Like, last episode, we talked a little bit about the game Red Markets and some other games.
Yeah, we actually did a little bit of... Oh, I took another rocket.
But yeah, you were like, oh, I hadn't actually read through the game, and I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll hook you up. I'll do this stuff. So I circulated it to the Secret Cabal. And that night, quite a few people got in there, and we had a little bit of a jam sesh.
Yeah.
Talking about stuff. Very interesting, kind of like working out some stuff. So I think that could be a very, very productive angle when we're done with Star Wars. I did also this week finish off wrapping up the actually writing the climax of the Star Wars adventure. I think I talked about that last week, where I was like, I kind of figured out what I was doing, but I hadn't, put my thoughts to paper yet. So I accomplished that. We played another session. You guys fought a giant spider.
It was fun. You're actually rolling pretty good on that. You actually got to use, I would say, a fair amount of its fun attacks.
Yeah, I think I talked about this when it felt like it was going to be over fast. I was like, should I be... No, actually, I think I got to do all the cool stuff. I had it spawn minions. It did its, regular attack. It had a couple of, weapon-type attacks. Like, it had a default ranged attack, like shooting spinnerets or whatever at people that it didn't get to do because you guys got up in there pretty fast and shot some shit at it. But I was able to kind of I think if you listen back to the audio, you can, if you know what's going to happen, you can probably hear the foreknowledge in my voice when I'm like, so you're taking cover next to Camo, are you? And Loth is like, yeah. And they turn it as oh yeah, we get all our bonuses. It's cool. High five, brother high five. And then, 5 minutes later, I'm like, all right, well, so the electric spider is going to shoot a beam at you. And it's going to blow up your cover. Oh, and I'm going to activate the special ability to track it to the next guy.
Yeah, you atomic breath them. You atomic breath them. It was kind of great.
The boss did its desperation attack and blasted both of them, and they were just like, damn. Wow, okay, well. That was basically one of its last moves, but, no, it was pretty goo.
Yeah, we, Red Marcus, we talk about making the magic school bus.
Yeah. We talk about the vehicle rules, and they're pretty robust and good for scores. And somewhere that came up, just stealing a bus came up, and I actually found the appropriate vehicle profile that would work for it. And it was just yeah, no, this is not there. I do like that. Even though this is not necessarily, like I said, I talked about this when we did this jam session. I've heard quite a few playtest games from people directly related to the authorship and editing of the game, start campaigns with vehicles, and the actual published final product, it says, hey, vehicles are expensive, you shouldn't start with them.
Yeah.
So I think it was good on your part. You were like, nah, we shouldn't start with the bus, we'll work towards it. And it's fairly reasonable to accomplish. It was it's industrial vehicle scale, upkeep 10, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit
of cash, but it's not unreasonable. So yeah,
Ooh,
it was good to kind of go through. I ended up basically rereading the PDF with my prospective players as we went, because people started asking questions. Mostly Axe was asking lore questions, and I was double checking stuff. We had a lot of jokes. We joked about it on the episode, and we joked about it later. Axe seemed slightly bothered by the fact that we kept comparing him to a Crusader, but I was like, no, Axe, you don't understand. You keep asking questions about the mechanics of the Blight. That's the whole thing about the Crusaders, is they keep trying to figure out what the Blight is doing, and you can't. The Blight is a literal black box.
The fuck is that?
there's a great rant by one of the Viewpoint characters, Nat, where she talks about like how studying the blight works, and it's basically like, look at it with your eyes, it's black shit. Look at it under a microscope, it's black shit. Get a scanning electron microscope that costs millions of dollars to run. Look at it, on a nanometer scale or whatever. More black shit. So yeah, it's a literal black box. It kind of behaves like a fungus, but also doesn't because it has like immunity profiles like a virus. Like some people are just immune to the blight. And there was some kind of interesting back and forth and talking about people's characters, and I liked it. It's good when we can have these little jam sessions.
Can I? Yes, I can. Okay.
Ooh. Well, okay, maybe not to like a crazy level, but Axe, you do often ask a lot of like you always try to like dig in and explain aspects of the lore. You're not necessarily good at suspension of disbelief, and so it creates kind of a funny thing where, like, repeatedly the fiction is telling you, I am telling you. After Lucky read the fiction, he is telling you, no, you don't understand. The blight doesn't make sense. It doesn't operate under thermodynamics. And you're like, okay, but what does the blight do this? What does the blight do with this? And I'm like, it just does. So it just kind of was a funny, wow, that guy just climbed right into that bullet.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't paying attention because I was reading what Axe wrote.
This is the thing we were talking about, though, where the guys are really keen on getting up on your grill in this game.
Oh, are we starting in combat? Son of a bitch.
Oh, yep.
They're not shooting at me. I don't think they actually know exactly where I am, but...
No, but they seem alerted. Charlie's just running in. You're probably gonna have a problem, Jay.
Well, okay.
So, yeah. It's just like I said. It's a funny thing where, like... You wanted to keep asking clarifying questions about the blight, some of which did not have answers because it's just how the fiction is. Because, I mean, I know at this point the author Caleb Stokes has done a lot of medical research because I've backed, his most recent game, Phase Anatomy, which I still do have the playtest for. I need to, like, double-check everything. We could, if we wanted to do, take a break, we could throw that together for, like, a weekend or something. And I'll say, like, especially since immunity exists, and then they can turn immunity into suppressin. Suppressin, the drug that makes you a latent, it stops you from going vector right away, is made from immune bone marrow.
Keeps you from going hot. Keeps you cold, though.
Yeah, keeps you cold. Cold infection. Cold blight, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
That presumably means that eventually you could hypothetically apply some kind of, if not medical science, trial and error to the blight. But the blight is explicitly written this way, I believe, because, like I said, Caleb is not a medical expert. He's a, I think his day job is as a high school teacher, and he's a game designer. So he teaches, like, English class and shit. But, like, the point is that the blight is a fantastical element to keep you from dealing with the, getting too caught up in the fact that the game is very real about that whole economic horror thing. This is in the intro. I love it. Like, Caleb's just straight up like, what is an RPG? Google it. Listen, I'm not trying to turn you off here, but, like, this is a complex game that includes zombies so that people don't get too weirded out by how, like, depressing and real it is.
I'm sorry, Axe. I'm going to call you out here. I like how you're saying you have trouble taking hints when you... We didn't give you hints. We flat out told you several times and you would not let it go. It's like, oh man, like I don't want to like I don't know, keep punching you in the gun, but you were literally just ignoring what we were saying as you tried to push what you wanted.
Well, this is what I meant, like saying Axe is bad at suspension of disbelief sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like the cue is you got to suspend your disbelief. Now, obviously, the unfortunate nature of fiction is when you just say you have to suspend your disbelief, you've kind of already lost. But
well, yeah, but if that was
sometimes that is just what the writing is, right?
Well, I mean, you look at science fiction, like like I said, I think like what was it saying? Like no science fiction writer actually understands how space works. They just come up with something in the middle and say, "Go for it."
Yeah.
There
is a literal TV trope called "Sci-fi writers have no sense of scale." Because
that's what
it's true.
it was.
Because the scale of the universe is fucking unfathomable. So nobody gets it right. Like, this is a big thing that's tangled up in Star Wars. During Attack of the Clones Episode 2, the cloners say that there are so many million units of clones ready, with more being prepared. Nobody knows what the fuck units means, but if it meant literal millions of clones, there are literally not enough clones to fight in the galaxy. Like, because you're talking about multiple planets that have multiple double digits of billions of population that they have to police. Not possible.
Yeah.
Most people, I think, just accept units as just some nebulous number of non-one-to-one clone amounts, because otherwise it would not make any sense. And I think, much like, well, actually no, because George Lucas and Disney in turn, the Disney-owned Lucasfilm, has been bad about trying to explain literally every line. But I don't believe that George Lucas ever tried to explain every line case, so he just left it alone with blah 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 units. Though, in the old school Republic Commando books, Karen Travis was very insistent. Like, no, it means literally only millions of clones. Don't ask me why it doesn't make sense. But yeah, sci-fi ratings have a bad sense of scale.
Oh, it's this dude!
But no, like, the thing with the Blight is that it's, it is meant to be a framework. It's meant to be the setting. I would say that, you know, it's not endless. That is the thing, right? Like, the thing with the Blight is nobody knows where it came from. Nobody knows how to fix it once it's set in. Nobody knows, like, how it works. It just does. That does not necessarily mean that the zombie apocalypse will go on forever. That is the whole point of, like, groups like Black Math. Like, if you do your due diligence and stuff, humanity will eventually, you know, police out the Blight. And if not completely remove it, will contain it to a sufficient level. That is what's supposed to be, like, the it's references, I've talked about this before, the T-minus never plan, right? The DHQS is going to take back the loss, T-minus never. Yeah, these guys throw a lot of grenades. It's very annoying. Lucky is almost after 2 hours up to where I stopped after like 3.5.
Nice, Sully.
It's a little tricky.
Just son of a bitch.
Yeah, you made that guy stop with that grenade, and Sully just got him in the back. Yeah, it's those assholes on the side that only exist to, like, cut the corners on cover. I mean, yeah, this is some people are not okay with, like, the proper, like, bleak-ass zombie apocalypse fiction. And I can see that, right? Like, I wouldn't want... I've already talked about how, like, some of the bust rules, as they're called, I would not want to use. Like, I would not necessarily want to do no budget, no buy rule. Like, oof. I get what Caleb's going for. It models the economic horror better. It kind of keeps your survival mechanics. Personally, I don't know. I've never... Like, I do some budgeting in my life, obviously. I make sure that, like, okay, it's a new month. I pay, you know, these many service bills, pay my phone bill, whatever, keep, etc. kind of thing, right? And I do constantly double check how much money I have in the bank, but I don't necessarily I don't think that, like, when I, as a person who naturally has, like, anxiety and stuff, when I stress slightly over, like, now, fuck, I gotta spend $60 to buy a new ups this week, you know, I don't think that that's, like, slowly degrading my sanity or anything. So, and for purposes of player management, like, I don't know, no budget, no buy seems like a lot of extra tracking, like, okay, so before the mission, you have to guess how much money you're going to make and how you want to spend it. And if you want to spend it on different things, like if you get filled full of bullets, you have to make self-control checks. And if you don't get filled full of bullets, well, that stuff just goes to the bank anyway, you know? Like, I get that it's a model slightly more of people's spending habits, but I don't know if it's a model better of people's gaming habits. Like, obviously, you know, we've been playing Star Wars a long time. We do a lot of shopping in that. We have the back and forth, right, of, like, oh, we've got so much, you know, in a group fund. Okay, we can turn this into this thing now, this new resource or whatever. Or, God, that guy's making his way to get his ass kicked so fast. Sully, little help.
Are we done? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get blown up. Gotta wait for Sullivan to do his thing.
All right, we did it.
But like we also have moments, right, where it's like,
Actually.
okay, you're doing a new thing, you need to stock up, which, at least the way I remember No Budget No Buy, that kind of wouldn't work, right? Like, because you budget based on the next job, so that means that you would have to budget during the previous job what you might need to get new shit if you need new things for a new job, kind of thing, right? And obviously, Red Market's not. It's got a lot of gear point in it, but it's not always nitpicky with the gear. So you might not necessarily need like specialist tools for everything, but it definitely, I'm like, that seems like a lot of additional bookkeeping that I don't know if my players are going to keep up on.
Like, I like bookkeeping and whatnot, but there's a difference between bookkeeping for, fun and profit and bookkeeping to literally keep yourself from stressing out.
Yeah. Which No Budget No Buy is supposed to model, but like, it's interesting. It's a system which makes it both more stressful for your players and your characters, and I'm just like, my players don't need more stress. They're already in a survival horror SRPG where they can get eaten by zombies because dice rolling exists.
Yes.
It's a very simple dice system. I like asked some questions earlier about like handling the blight and stuff. I mean, well, that depends on the campaign setting and stuff. Like, vectors are 28 days later or World War Z type like rage zombies, but they burn out pretty fast. So you get casualties, which are Romero-ass slow shambly zombies, right? So like, what I use depends on what kind of jobs or legs you're encountering. Well, it's entirely probable that at some point you'll run into a vector. That's not the standard anymore because it's been like somewhere between like 5 and 7 years and stuff. So, you don't have to worry about vectors in the streets usually. Which to that point though, vectors are a mechanically like it's got the classic like tier system of enemies. Like casualties are literally in hordes, and it's literally a question of how many bullets do you need to spend to deal with them, right? Whereas vectors are like targets you have to deal with. Caleb was very tongue-in-cheek about this. Vectors have what's called a murder modifier, and that's what basically sets like their bonus to all their rolls on stuff and how fast they move. Literally the murder modifier. So yeah, those guys are tougher, and then aberrants are fucking weird, so they can be, even more freaky-deaky and tough to deal with.
Yeah. Anyway, I have caught up to where Omega is, so I am going to go back to Uncharted 1.
Save and cycle it out. So yeah, like it's the same for like human adversaries. There's 3 tiers of NPC stat lines in Red Markets for humans. There's part-time, who are basically minions. They have just 10 wound boxes, period. You shoot them anywhere, they take 10 wounds, they're done. There's full-time, who have normal hit silhouettes and like some skills, and then there's management, who are basically like player character tier enemies, kind of like how Star Wars / Genesis does, Minions Rivals Nemesis. Like, management enemies have full stat spreads, full gear lists, and all that stuff, and are probably better at individual skills than you because they're supposed to be like big bossy guys. That's it. There's a lot of little gear notes and stuff in the thing, so it's a good system. We will almost assuredly try it at some point and do some recordings and let you guys hear about it.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of us were already coming up with like character concepts and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see like everybody think about the roles. Like, it's not actually explicitly included in the
yeah, that's how fast I die
section.
Jesus.
But it's almost like they're shooting real bullets at you now. You clocked on pretty good to like the starting stat spread.
Oh yeah,
like get like how many points was it? You get 1 and everything for free at least.
There we go.
And then
it was
you get
5 points. I think it was. Yeah, it was 5.
Like 5 points in 6 stats.
Yeah, so I always said like your best bet is 3, 2, 2, 2, and then the rest is ones. And you were like, yeah, no, that's good, because then if you want a more specific build, you can drop one of the 2s to the 1 for a second 3, or if you want a balanced character, you can drop the 3 to a 2.
Yeah. And considering, while expensive, increasing your aptitudes, their potentials as they're called, is a flat rate. It's 10 per point.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fucking bounty, all things considered. But it's a flat rate, so it's very manageable. This is even in the example. They talk about how, to the defaulting rule, about how Malleus the Latent started as Strength 2 and is now Strength 5. Latent P90X. That was a playtest character. So, like, you can definitely do those kinds of improvements. And the potentials are important because you can't exceed a potential in your skill. So, for instance, if you're the brain guy, if you've got an int is your key stat. If your int is only 2, that means your int stats can all only be 2. But if your int is 3, your int stats can go as high as 3, which can be better for success, obviously. 3 is a pretty good number, though. A lot of the resounding successes because you roll 2d10 and compare the red and the black, you know? A lot of times, you know, the success rate is just 10 over 2. Oh, hey, look, I rolled a 10 on my good die and I rolled low on my bad die. Nothing happens. But there is enough to sufficiently, like, shift things around, and there's the will points to, like, flip stuff around. Which will is one of the potentials, but it's the one that's not tied to any skills. It's just you probably don't want only one will, otherwise you're gonna be hitting your spots hard, causing a lot of drama. But yeah, I think it works out to, like, the natural level of the, like, specialization of the team and, like, figuring out everybody's individual roles, you know?
Oh yeah, because no one's a one-man army or whatever in this game, so people gotta, you know, work together. And I don't think we actually had anyone really thinking about being, like, a murder kind of character.
Yeah, we had one guy who was interested in being the melee specialist, but that would probably be mostly... What melee ends up usually doing is, like, being a melee-focused specialist is usually you kite casualties and lock them down. Or prevent them from touching your friends who are shooting. We did not necessarily find anybody yet to be, like, a really big shooty murder character.
Damn.
I think stealth is also gunmanship, so... Like, shoot and stealth are probably both agility. We'd work it out. Because there's, like, the whole enclave creation and sorting it all out and figuring out what your setting and stuff is like, there'd be a session 0 where we'd, like, build characters, discuss everything, figure out starting resources, compare and contrast everybody, you know? We talked about this that night, but in the book there is actually hey, what skills do I need? It's like, here's a list of the skills that are probably essential for everybody to have, you know, at least that one in. You know, self-control, very important, so you don't go crazy. Athletics, also very important, so you don't get bit or can't run away. You probably want shoot, so you can shoot the zombies. Anybody who's not latent or immune punching zombies is a losing proposition. Don't do it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun.
Blech. I love how they just have a small animation. Yeah, no, you just literally go off the fucking waterfall, man.
And they only, quote-unquote, kill you at the bottom.
Yep. Ugh. But no, like, you know, I kind of wanted to be a latent... I wanted to be a techie, scroungy kind of character, but I was like, but also, I like latent. And I was thinking about that, and I was having fun with that. Ooh, camera angles. Please no. Wee! I jumped into the water!
Being latent definitely helps you be scroungy, because you can touch blight shit without worrying about it. Haha, can't get me twice, bitch. And there's a lot of interesting dynamics, like, you know, like thinking about, like, dependence, stuff like that. I like how, because everybody has at least one in charm, everybody has at least one dependent, which is one, good for, like, healing your humanity damage and stuff, but also it forces you to think about what the fuck you're doing with your life and who you hang out with, you know? The game has, like, while you can be murder hobos, kind of, it has, like, anti-murder hobo synergy built in. Like, you can't necessarily write your backstory as, like, everyone I know and love is dead, and I care for no one. I'm a man alone. Those characters are called Lalas, last asshole left alive. And they are crazy lone survivors who, you know, endured their own, like, Taker group collapse, or even their enclave failing, or even just going through the crash in general. and are like, yeah, I'm the last guy out here alone, and usually they're crazy motherfuckers who don't work well with other people.
Oof. I think this might be where my tolerance of fucking this game came from, as I just literally poked my head out once and immediately died.
Yeah, this is in this high difficulty. This is not a great zone for a firefight. Yet there is one here. Definitely, if you did this enough for the funds, this would definitely teach you some patience.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for Red Markets because, like I said, I've always liked. It combines two things that I really like. I really like survival games, just in general, and I like logistics. So I'm like, yes. Then we're just gonna like. I like how they put it in here. This game is a poverty simulator with fucking zombies in it to keep it from getting what they say, getting too
real. I think.
Yeah, too real. So I definitely enjoyed that.
When you play the game, like when you start the game, you're basically broke and you have to make your rent and pay your bills. Otherwise, your shit's gonna break and you're gonna starve. And the people who depend on you to pay their bills are gonna get mad at you. And so you're looking for jobs, and that's what it's about.
That's what it's all about.
And like I said, I think it works. I've listened to a decent number of campaigns. There would definitely be I'd like to try. We talked about on and off mic that you and probably most of the other people we know would probably prefer like a mix of like GM curated jobs where I like come up with like either individual side quests or possibly ongoing what the game calls job chains where we kind of figure stuff out. And then also occasionally doing scores, or even I noticed that there are what they call the MBA rules, the advanced rules. There is even like using the game to simulate running your own business. So like maybe once you guys get to the Magic School Bus, you could like figure out how to like expand that even more to like having some kind of actual like business model. Or we could just go the classic route, and I would insist this would be everybody's retirement plans. We'd have to do Mr. Joel's.
Oh, just one last job.
Mr. Jules, that asshole. Yeah, that's what Mr. Jules stands for. It's just one last score.
Oh, score. That's what it was.
Yeah. So you all have that one last job that if you get it done, not only will you make it to the recession, but you'll be filthy fucking rich. So, or even if you choose to stay in the loss, you'll be filthy fucking rich. So, like, it's a fun little quality for everybody to, like, think about over the campaign and know that, like, all right, we're going for that one thing. In one of the playtest games where they did it, I think they did it best where they don't detail it all at the beginning, but they show a flash forward or a flashback where all the Taker crew are talking about it, and they name it, and so that you can dramatically reference it later. They named their Mr. Joel's 2 banners. So throughout the campaign, they're like talking to each other, like, "Don't freak out, man. Remember, 2 banners, 2 banners. We can do it." 2 banners turned out to be, I think they kind of turned it into like a Six Flags homage. It was a state-of-the-art amusement park that had shit in it. I think it was like a water park. So everybody's IDs were like in lockers, which is good because remember the government pays the bounty credit on IDs. So that's your currency, is finding people's IDs and double checking them because they need to figure out their census data in the fucked up future.
Honestly, there's something about Red Markets I really like. I like its opening fluff. Like reading the shit about Nat and Whisper of a Gnat's Wing. That was some shit. I was like, wow. Like I probably would have read this just as like a standalone novel or something.
Yeah, Red Market's definitely. I think it took Caleb a little while to lock in on the fluff, but it definitely has a very distinct feeling about what it's evoking. It's set 20 minutes into the future. They talk about like future problems that we may or may not have with like they call like the Great Education Default and stuff like that, and like different changes in how things will be working out. There's still internet in the post-apocalyptic future because of the Ubik system, which is a mesh network that's embedded in the upper atmosphere. So it's not quite satellite internet, but it's distributed computing. And Ubik stays online because the U.S. government needed to talk to, but then unfortunately that's how Nat, one of the viewpoint characters for the fluff, actually like figured out they were just going to abandon the loss, cut their losses, throw it out there, and then she basically posted that as a memo to everybody's social media page on Ubik Network, and was like, decide for yourself what you want to do. They're not fucking coming back, okay?
A lot of people decided to run for the Mississippi.
Which probably saved some lives, but also it generally kind of like totaled out everybody's responses and set things. And now there's a Cold War between the DHQS and the Moths, which is the staff of Ubik City. Because the government's not great. They preemptively nuked Canada.
They were going for an attack. No, they weren't.
No. And they even talk about how that President Hunter is was impeached and put under house arrest. Like they realized it was bad later, but they did it as a preemptive move. They nuked the eastern side of Canada to close in the borders of the recession. Because, like in the U.S., Canada's infection started on the West Coast. But it did work in that when the blight finally got to the eastern half of Canada, there was nothing for it to eat, so it did not cross over. But it was also really fucked up. And they're literally Canadian anti-American terrorists are like a faction in universe that exists that you got to think about and deal with. I think their name it's in French, but it translates to like Red Leaf. Like they're fucking angry about it. And if there was anything left of the Canadian government after this thing got solved, there would probably be a war. There are also, I talked about this, there's a couple of interesting things that are remarked about, like the greater, wider world, right? So you could do like Red Markets International. Like Japan is apparently supposed to be all recession. Like apparently the Japanese government allegedly got their shit under control fast enough. Their navy still exists and is patrolling in the triangle of Southeast Asia where there's an ongoing conflict. And somebody picks up the phone when you call Japan on official business, but also they aren't on the Ubik network and they are physically isolated, so nobody's actually sure what's going on over there. It could all be a bluff.
Clearly the Shogun has taken power again.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy just charged me. Fuck.
Yeah, some guys just do that. They just bum rush you. He has a shotgun. Yeah, it makes sense. Shitting. No honor amongst thieves. Benji. Like the UK is a recession as well because they talked about how because the UK is basically a surveillance state and there's closed circuit TV everywhere. Nobody could ignore the fact that the zombie apocalypse was happening. It's like, nah, dude, it's on closed circuit. And so they actually were able to figure out what the fuck it was, suppress it, close borders. Australia still exists, China's supposed to be pretty fucked. Russia's in a bad way because their outbreak, I think their first outbreak was supposed to have happened in, like, Moscow directly, so
oof.
They were completely decapitated, basically. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of these little interesting details. They talk about, like, there's a whole extensive fluff to everything in here, and it's really good. It's really well written. Check it out. Oof. I like how sometimes you kind of ragdoll, and sometimes Nate's just like, ugh. Like he has that last gasp. Lots of little detail. But speaking of other things I'm excited about. I didn't think that I would get to it, but I did actually get to take my time, and I've been working on Jessica.
Yes. I haven't checked. Shit. Oh, no.
Not only did I write the last two stat lines for Beastman, but I have started on the pork segment.
Yes. This pleases the lucky.
Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty chunky. I think I might be about halfway or maybe a little over half through. Like I said, did not get all the time I needed to finish it up, but I was able to get the ball rolling on a lot of stuff.
Shit.
Started on that segment. I definitely feel like, while obviously being a parody setting, a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily super serious.
Damn it.
I definitely feel like in discussing the pork, because their name is a pun, I have... I don't want to say they're a comic relief race, but I definitely feel like just it's more natural to slide in more jokes and puns into their fluff. Like, it just kind of works to have a funny name. Not to say that there's not obviously some serious world-building stuff in here, too, but there's definitely, like, playing a little faster and looser and a little more amusing, maybe.
Shit. Oh, no. Damn it. If I get flanked, I just die.
Yes. Like, for instance, I wrote, talking about their names. So obviously, Lucky, I don't know if you planned on this, but I think you ended up informing pork names a little bit with Porter. Because I didn't want to necessarily invalidate what you'd already decided your name was, because it was cool. So I decided that that seems simplistic enough. In general, pork are very, very straightforward and direct. Pork are not necessarily all dumb, but on average, they are slightly less intelligent than other races. It's to compensate for the fact that they're fucking swole.
Get fat.
That's in their notes. Yeah, they grow rapidly and their metabolisms work fast. They can explicitly gain fat and muscle very rapidly with just a little extra uptick in calories versus how much energy they use. Whereas they can also go the other way, but they don't like that. It's called sweating it off. It's very unpleasant for pork, having to like rapidly lose muscle and fat. They don't like it. So they have a very simplistic, direct, and pragmatic worldview. I literally put in their notes that they like to appropriate, borrow, or straight up steal from other races when they find something that works. Like, a pork may look at a gun and go, I don't know how this works, but I saw a guy point the pointy end and pull the trigger, and a guy fell down, and that seems pretty effective, so I'm going to take this now. It's mine now. I literally made kludge a pork word. Which, if you don't know, kludge is a bit of slang that has an ambiguous etymology, but it basically means to kit bash or slap together parts of something until it works.
Basically, you hear it as something like kludge something together.
Yes. As a verb or as a noun. Oh, that's a kludge. So, yeah, kludge is a pork word, and they live by that philosophy. They kludge a lot of things. But, so, because of their directness, I thought, okay, names like Porter make sense. Now, noun verber names where you're like verb stuff like cutter, ripper, and obviously, Lucky's Porter, like that makes sense. That's direct, Some of these are just, violent physical names like Spike or Crash. Things which can be real names but are direct. Sometimes they just filter through their own dialect, perfectly normal names, like a pork might go, oh, Elizabeth, that's a cool name. I can't write all those letters down. I'm just be Ellie. And then talking about like having a little bit of humor in there, I wrote down sometimes pork just make names that just are jammings of syllables they think sound cool, like groob, skronk, raz, or junk. Like they thought it sounded good. They don't have a long cultural history, they're pretty young as a race goes. Technically, they are probably, so if you want to get into, secrets of the universe and stuff, they're probably technically older than the Beastmen, because it's noted that the first possible pork raiders showed up slightly around the time of the Lemurian Schism, which would have been before the Beastmen were needed. But it's also not clear. Those could have been fake news. Things could have been, misreported or misremembered. I put forward the 3 major theories as to who the fuck the pork are and where they came from in the opening paragraph, but then I commit to nothing. I say what theory people in the world publicly accept because it's the one that's the least problematic. Which is that the Scions did actually make the pork when the world was young to, be a big muscly race to beat up possible threats to the world, but because they were so strong and, rapidly growing, they were like, whoa, the world is not yet ready. You guys go sleep under a mountain for a little bit. And then when, we started the whole heavenly schism and shit, they were like, fuck, the apocalypse.
Bring out the pork!
Button. Yeah.
Release the pork!
That's generally what the public of the universe accepts because it makes them sound less like assholes and more like they're on our side. The idea that one of the other theories is that the pork are actually a mob race and Minim made them, but because she made them a actually free-willed race, guess what? They don't have to listen to her, so they didn't. But that would probably make people uncomfortable, so most people choose not to believe that one.
Lucky, do not ruin a perfectly opportune stealth opportunity. That's dumb.
Tab. In there. Another thing I did talk about though, because they're very adaptive and pragmatic, pork don't necessarily keep the same name. They might think they find a cooler name later and get it. Which would be an interesting thing for you to think about. Was Porter's original name, or did he change it to something that sounded better after After, as a punk child, he got tired of being Gaz or something. Who knows?
You are wrecking my steez here, man.
Yeah, they do that.
Okay, here we go again.
Let's see, at least you're making progress, you know? You're in a different place, and it's been like 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, I slowly make my way through.
It requires patience.
Mm-hmm. Again, this is what I was thinking about. I was like, maybe this is why I can, you know, sit through, you know, things and do it over and over again and not be, and be, kind of be okay with it.
Yeah, I think everybody has built up their own tolerance for certain repetitive actions, and this...
Yeah.
Gameplay-wise, this definitely seems like it forces you to be patient if you want to do the stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It's interesting. It kind of reminds me of, like, my own version of this level of dedication, as I talked about it before. I got both, like, no kills and no alerts separately in Metal Gear Solid 4, and it's definitely, like, when you're doing that no alerts, you definitely, like, actually have to, like, take it slow and think out your every move and not fuck it up. Gesundheit.
I always sneeze twice. I don't know why. Fuck.
You gotta shake your sinuses. But yeah, so there's sections currently in the segment developed to, you know, obviously what their physical qualities are. Pork tend to be, you know.
Why is everyone running up on me? Stop that!
They all have shotguns?
No.
No, they're just gonna murder you because they know they can gang up on you. But so pork are usually on the higher, the taller side of humane, but some of them can be, you know, a little shorter and squatter. They got a couple of different skin tones. Like a lot of them are more pinkish, but some of them might be gray or even a light green.
Can I drop this on you? I can.
I kind of took a couple of different cues from several different interpretations of various like orc and other warlike cultures.
Damn it. Yeah, no. Like, I'm excited. Like, as soon as we get done with this, I'm going to go read it. What you got so far.
Like, I definitely wanted to, like, I didn't, even though, like I said earlier, I made a lot of jokes in this segment. Like, literally one of my lines is, like, talking about, like, you know, they tend to be simplistic. They're very pragmatic. They can engage in very cunning tactics or unique problem solving. This problem solving sometimes just involves hitting things really hard. Sometimes the shortest solution. Like, I didn't necessarily want to, like, get too, like, stereotypical, like, yeah, in general, pork are known to be a little short-tempered, maybe a little impatient or unfocused, you know, their bodies develop much faster than their brains, because it's kind of like an RPG min-max thing. But that doesn't mean that they're all dumb, it just means that their smarts take a long time to develop, and because they live kind of violent, disorganized lives, a lot of pork don't live long enough for their brains to really catch up to their giant, meaty bodies. I actually call this out when talking about, like, their max age. Like, hypothetically, like, pork can live to be longer even than humans. They could live, like, 150 years at best. But a lot of them only live in the, like, 60 to 80 range because they live violent lives that involve beating people up who are trying to take their stuff or beating people up to take their stuff. It's a cultural thing, you know?
This dude literally ran all the way around me for no reason.
Yeah, I just see it right now. He just ran right by you. Ah! He really wanted that cover back there.
I guess.
So we explained the pork cultural rules. I do talk about some of their other things, you know, because they develop so rapidly. A newborn pork is actually quite squishy.
Ew.
They don't have their tusks yet. They haven't, you know, fully blocked in all their bones and muscles. So it takes them a little bit to catch up. So. And shorter than humans, you know. I note that, you know, a pork can usually walk within their first year, which is fast.
God damn it.
But they're vulnerable until they start catching up and start developing that mass. So, you know, pork have kind of a look after your own thing, which can also extend to looking after your own in a metaphysical sense, adopting members of other races, pets, and inanimate objects. Lucky, I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with that.
Yes. I like stuff.
Yeah, I'm like kind of talking about the differences in their culture, their technical capabilities and crafts. I've gotten through, like, you know, how they handle like their fashion sense and clothing and tech stuff like that. What do they wear? Because they can, change body shape pretty rapidly. Usually, loose-fitting clothes that can be cinched tighter is needed. Get a little bit of baggy tunic. If you accidentally put on a few pounds, it doesn't matter.
How did I miss everyone with that? Okay.
Honestly, I only really just started talking about Jinsekai in the past, like, 5-ish minutes. Just talk about the new pork stuff.
Pork.
More buried stuff in there. Did get a little onto food, which I don't think I'm quite done with. And then we're probably going to talk about some notable geography things, because I mentioned that pork society is kind of divided into two, like, macro groups. There are raiders, or bands as they're sometimes called, who basically live semi-nomadic lives where, to get their resources, they go out into the field and beat people up for their resources. And then if pork kind of settle around resources, they tend to form into strongholds. They build reinforced positions where they can naturally gather these resources where they are abundant and tell everybody else to fuck off. Possibly die.
I'm assuming that pork's raiding strongholds might be a thing.
Yes, actually, this is explicitly pointed out that while, again, because they're very pragmatic and direct, pork straight up do engage in slavery, but not like the most kind of degradation chattel slavery, more like, hey, you have a skill set that I don't have. You're coming with me. Or, hey, I am a raider with a band full of meatheads with great axes. None of us know how to swing a pick. You know how to swing picks. You're coming with me kind of a thing.
It's more the traditional, typically slavery.
Yes, the classic, like, hey, we have a labor shortage, and you're coming with me, otherwise I'm going to thump you with my axe.
Not this postmodern, you are animals.
Yeah. Which is when the forces of darkness take slaves is probably the way it grows, because they're really fucking evil, and it's not necessarily pragmatic. For pork, almost everything is pragmatic,
Listen, you can't get... If you mistreat your slaves, you can't get good shit out of them.
Yeah, and they have... It's not really a code of honor, but it's more just like there's nothing to prove by beating up squishy weaklings who have no skills.
Yeah.
That does not progress the rules of getting strong or getting fat. So, like... They probably don't actually, like, honestly, you probably get a lot of adventurers whose parents were enslaved or killed by pork, because pork probably don't fuck around with, like, child slavery. They're like, you're tiny and squishy, you serve me no purpose, killing you is pointless, because you're not strong, and you can't do anything. Go away, child. Shoo. Take this rock and go. So that's kind of the direction they come from. But yeah, it's explicitly noted that the ones they raid the most are themselves, and if they get too raidy and too slavey, even on other pork, that's when occasionally the Adventurers Guild is like, okay, these guys are getting a little too big for their britches. We need to go up there and bonk some heads.
Mm.
The great circle of adventuring.
I can get behind that.
And like I said, they're very much about, like, beg, borrowing, and stealing anything they can. Like, they have, they aren't naturally good metal workers, but because they usually hang out in the mountains and foothills of the highlands, they have stolen enough dwarf shit to actually figure out how smithing works, and can, make iron and almost steel tools a lot.
Huh.
They're not necessarily naturally talented at animal handling, but they've stolen enough sheep, cattle, and goats to figure out how that works. It's all just kind of like I ended up, like I said, making them a very pragmatic, a very individualistic kind of, like, culture. Like, they have two rules: they get strong and get fat, and those can be literal, or I even write in that paragraph about that, they might be more metaphorical. Get fat might be a metaphor for being physically sated by life or being safe. Getting strong might be metaphorical strength, like, not just not just being physically strong, but also gaining, like, power and political influence,
Mm-hmm.
So there is a full breadth of characters within the pork player characters can play. Also, you can run into as allies or possible antagonists.
I'm excited for this.
Like, I did do some slight cultural touchstones to the classic, like, Warhammer, both fantasy and K orcs. So pork physically mature after about 10 years, but like I said, their brains and emotional maturity don't really catch up for like another 5 to 10. So that is literally their quote-unquote punk phase, their juvie phase, when they're physically strong enough to carry an axe or a hammer and beat stuff up, but their brains ain't all there yet. That's when you're young and dumb and you go out and raid a lot and stuff. So like there's a lot of talk about kind of like that whole growing experience. I think out of all the races, pork are the only ones who I've called out engage in various forms of body mods. Like they'll do tattoos, scarification, piercings, body paints, a lot of dyeing hair and styling it in weird ways. Yes, there will be some mohawk pork.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Beastmen in that they are a truly as far as they were for a culture, they kind of came out of fucking nowhere. But with Beastmen, at least, I talked about like how Beastmen have, instinct as their watchword. They, have these kind of roles associated with their animal totems they can fall into. Pork don't really have that. They just kind of showed up and started figuring stuff out. It's even pointed out in my notes. Maybe they figured out this whole, raiding economy by studying what people in like the Katai Valley and the Highlands do, which those are human cultures who are not afraid to go to the next village over and thump them on the head if they've got something they need. Because, humans aren't perfect either.
Nope.
And listen, sometimes the person next door just has the thing you need. Not all of us live in an advanced social culture where you can just ask for a cup of sugar. Sometimes you gotta thump them and get your cup of sugar. And like I said, my next bits of writing are probably going to be focused on like actual potential, like famous strongholds, who lives there kind of thing. Maybe some famous raiding bands kind of or clans kind of a thing. Pork don't have surnames; they do have clan names though, which are either distant familial relations or just pork who happen to have been raised in the same environment, so they have similar views on the life. And much like given names, clan names can change if somebody like takes a new leadership or you go in a new direction. You might decide that being Clan Red Skulls isn't cool anymore. Maybe you need to be Clan Wild River, spelled with a Y. This is explicitly called out. I talk about the Porkish language. Technically, Pork have their own language. It's really just a phonetic corruption of Common with some borrowed grammar and loanwords from Dwarfish and Low Lemurian, and then just a lot of just their own weird phonetic spellings and original slang. So usually you can cross-communicate between Common and Porkish, but sometimes you lose something in translation. Oh, also makes a good excuse for why Pork can talk to people when they're not usually very bright and don't like to bother learning to read and write. That's actually like it's a little bit of a power move if you're a Pork and you've learned to read and write. Like, that means you've actually stopped and taken some dedication to pick up the skill that's quite useful, but also not as useful as thumping people with an axe. As another note I brought up, Pork aren't really keen on economics. The complexities of buying and selling and stuff is a little over their head most of the time. They prefer simple barter and or thumping. Some Pork do become merchants, but it's kind of unusual.
The way I'm listening to you explain porns, I like the idea of like, they're kind of meatheads, but they won't necessarily look down on someone if they're not a meathead and they have another skill.
Yes, no, they totally respect other people's strength and skills, and like I said, they're even. That's why raiding for slaves works, is because they're like, hey, you've got skills I want, I can't do that. I kind of wanted to like with everybody who's a playable race, I wanted to make sure that like Pork are not a universal asshole culture. They are meatheads. They are, like I said, it's almost like an RPG Min-Max thing. They're very physically adept. They are very resilient to colds, for instance, because they've got such, great muscle building and fat. They don't like going where it's hot, as a converse. That'll be funny if we ever go to like a desert in Gensakai. You can complain about how hot it is and how you're dying.
It's like, oh no, I'm begging. I'm fucking begging. I'm begging.
No. Oh, my fat is boiling out of me. That's just sweat, Porter. No, you don't understand. I need that. I need my fat. Oh. Let me cast a water spell on me.
Aqua, save me.
Yeah, religion is the section I haven't gotten to yet, but that's going to be fun. But yeah, so they are a little slower on the mental and emotional development than other races. But that's not to say they can't get there. I even put in my notes. That's not to say like there are genius pork out there. If you want to play like you want to pour all your starting XP into being like in 3 or 4 or something and be a really really smart pork, you can do that. That's possible. They exist. It's just not their usual. And like I said, talking about kind of their like simple-mindedness, directness. I even talk about this. Pork aren't usually like they're very honest people. They don't usually bother to lie to you. They don't see the point. They're just direct. So, in their directness, they really, really don't see the point in necessarily slowing down for a lot of their intellectual pursuits. But they're not assholes about it. And occasionally, they do actually like figure some shit out on their own. And once they figure it out, they'll stick to it. A lot of talk of like adaptation and repurposing. Like for instance, I credit pork with inventing snowshoes because much like in Lord of the Rings, elves don't need shoes to walk on snow. They're fucking elves. They're magical. They're graceful. So in the far north where it's cold, so they can bundle up better, pork are like, hey, we're heavy. We can't walk on loose snow very well. Good. What do? Shoes.
Big shoes.
It might even be part of the gear list eventually. Snowshoes, walk over snow for free.
Oh, I died.
Yeah, I got some work to do, but it kind of bounces out. Yes, I learned from watching you is definitely a kind of a pork kind of angle.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Yeah, guys, how you doing? Let's see. We've been going for about 2.5-ish. 240-ish. I'm definitely still sitting here being a little sweaty, warm. I think I need to go refill my water fan. I've got a little water-cooled fan.
Swamp cooler.
Probably only the mint Alps can easily, because that's their every Alp is terrain climbed, but aren't a lot of non-mint Alps in the snow where it matters.
All right.
Though this is because I wanted to double check like what materials are used for snowshoes and how old they are. They're very fucking old, by the way. They may be one of the oldest things humans have ever done. We were doing snowshoes back in the thousands of BCs. When we were still in a stone-based economy, a stone and stick-based economy. But I did this research. You usually see like things of like Inuit people and stuff like doing it on the open tundra or whatever. No, that's not where you wear snowshoes. You don't wear snowshoes where you've got large, flat, hard-packed snow. You wear snowshoes in soft snowdrifts, squishy snow. It's loose. But no, what I was saying was that I have a little water-cooled fan to like cool my room, and I believe the water tank is empty, and it's getting a little sweaty in here. So it may be time to wind it down a little.
Right.
I feel like I've been doing a lot of the talking, though Lucky has been, for the past 40-ish minutes, I think you've been concentrating pretty hard on not getting your face shot off.
Regardless, though, I've been getting my face shot off.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, honestly, like I was going to try and say, I really haven't done that much, and I need to remember to do this. I actually need to write down things I want to talk about, otherwise I just will not remember.
Yeah, that happens. Like, it was shorter than I thought it might be. I just realized kind of in the middle, I was like, I don't want to gush too much about the show because I'd be over-explaining it, but, like, I was definitely thinking about, like, what I liked about the She-Ra cartoon and what I would bring up on What's Up a lot throughout the week, but, like, I've done, different handfuls of stuff, and some of my topics have been shorter because I have not thought out so much about what I want to say about them. It happened. Sometimes we remember to take lists, sometimes we don't. And you did talk about how earlier you did have a very distracting thing happen today.
Yeah. Alright. But, yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't have really much to talk about. And like I said, I did a bit of talking, in the early bits.
Yeah. Plus, you got to talk with everybody for, a little chunk there when I had to go away and splash some water on my face because of how fucking hot it was.
Hey, everybody. Okay, no one's here.
In the comments, no, I don't think either of us had a chance to watch the Shaman King yet.
No.
It's on my list of things to do.
It's like, I'll get there eventually. Maybe. Like, again, I have to block out like 8 hours for all the Evangelion rebuilds.
Mhm.
Again, they're all there. I'm excited. I am hyped for more Mari. I love Mari. Mari's my favorite. Fight me. I don't care what anyone else says. Where was I going? Oh, this way. But like I said, not got. Well, I guess I could talk a little bit about Gacha. So, I'm still playing Destiny Child. This is news because I was thinking about quitting it. Not necessarily because I don't like the game. It's just because, you know, the eternal thing of like, do I have enough time for this? No, not really. You know, with me like starting up a Near Reincarnation and other such things, I was like, oh shit, grenade. Whomst! I was just like, you know, I won't necessarily lose out if I drop on here. Yeah, I'll lose my Horny on main game, but, you know, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't need it. I don't need it. I just like it. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll just drop it here. That's immediately as soon as I think that, I go onto Twitter, Destiny Child's Twitter. I suppose, hey, check out this new child you can get. It's just this big, titty, thick woman. I'm like, God fucking damn it. You knew.
Yeah, you tweeted about this.
You fucking knew.
Like, no, I understand.
It's like, nope, no, I'll keep on it. I'll keep on. Actually, that reminds me, I actually need to keep on it. I need to open that up and play it to some. But, and the crazy thing is when I got back, when I was like, all right, well, let me get caught up in story. Because actually, like, for the past while, I haven't actually been reading the story. I've just been doing the events and living my best life. Because I'm like, hey, Horny on main, that's all I need. Ho, ho, ho. So I caught up on the story, and it blew my mind. Because Destiny Child puts us off. It's a very comedic game. Has a lot of lighthearted elements and whatnot. So, oop, I didn't mean to do that. Has a lot of lighthearted elements. So I was just like, yeah, okay, it's funny. It makes me laugh. Ha, 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 ha. But I started reading the latest upcoming stories, and it has taken a swift left turn into the shit's fucking serious. And I'm just like, oh, shit has gotten dark. Things have gotten serious. Where is this dude? Who is shooting me? Where are you? This is what I'm running around.
Great question in life. Who is shooting me?
I just hear bullets randomly. I'm just like, whoomst. But so I caught up on that, and now I'm just you know, cautiously excited. Like, I'm just like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Because Destiny Child does an interesting thing on how they do stuff. So usually there's always an event going on. Destiny Child has 3 styles of events. They have world bosses, Ragna breaks, which are like mini raid bosses, and then they have narrative dungeons, which are just, you know, basically standard fights. They all have an event currency that you can gather, and usually they have a couple childs that you can get bonuses for. Now, what they do is they always have one of these up. They rotate them. Like, after Ragna Break, I think is a world boss. After a world boss is a narrative dungeon. Oh, are you down here? After a narrative dungeon is a Ragna Break. And they just go, oh, there he is. And they just go this. So what they do is, like, these events usually last, like, I want to say about 2 weeks. 2 weeks at a pop. And they basically shove all of their content into this format. So this is like, even with their story events, like, their story events will be one of these. Now, when the story event is done with whatever the format, then it gets moved into the story section for you to play, like, when people who maybe not to get the event get to play. And I was thinking about this, I'm like, no, I actually kind of like this. Like, if you're in the moment, you can get a little bit of extra stuff and all that, but you'll never necessarily miss out. And occasionally they'll take breaks from the story to do their seasonal events. Like, they just got done with their big summer event, and not too long ago they did a little side event, and before that was their Valentine's event. Usually these are like several events that tell one big story, and they're usually pretty fun. So, excuse me. So, I remember where I need to go. So the wait, I do know where I need to go. Oh, there it is. So, like, I enjoy this. They're basically constantly doing little mini story updates. And I think it only works because, you know, FGO, when they do this big story release, they have to do a big story release, but you have, like, literally, you know, hours upon hours of just text and text and text. Like, every little one of these little story note beats, they're maybe like 1 or 2 pips of like, in a chapter. So, you know, it's always a little wetting of it. But, I do like that the fact that basically every few weeks I get a little bit more. It's like kind of like having like a monthly manga or something, you know? Buka Pitu.
I was a little far with it because I was just relaxing while Lucky was talking.
I haven't even looked what Buka Pinto means. Probably means open gate. But no, so I've like that. Like I said, I'm slowly going on near reincarnation. I was actually able to get the 200 rolls to get the free SSR. I did it without spending money, surprisingly. Oh wait. Ah! Bullets! I was able to actually get it without spending money. I just had to work my ass off on getting like missions and stuff done. So I was able to actually pick up 9S. Unfortunately, that just means in those, you know, 200 rolls, I didn't get a 9S or an A2. So I'm just like, this sucks a little bit. But I have the 4-star 9S and 2B now. 2B I got 3 times. Ow. 2B I got 3 times, so she is strong, as she should be. My precious girl. Well, other than that, don't really have much to say. I haven't been doing much in Azure Lane at the moment. I know they're gearing up for a new event, but
Yeah, I haven't logged into Arknights lately, but they're posting that they're doing the Rainbow Six event soon, and I'm like, I should probably try a little bit. I do like both of those games. Yes, I've talked about this before. I do actually like Siege. I'm just bad at it.
Oh! I missed!
Well, rip.
Who? Whomst? Who shot me in the back? Oh, maybe nobody. But that's it for me, really.
Well, then, I think there is a little thing we can bring up that just kind of seems like it's breaking now while we've been doing the show. I don't know if you've seen it, but I retweeted it. Didn't as well. But apparently, so it was a little funny. Axe phrased it earlier as looking like Hollow Knight EN is getting a 2nd gen, even though they've had those auditions out for literal months. We've all known more EN was coming because they're fucking popular. But apparently their 2nd gen has a name now. They're going to be Omen.
Interesting.
And they have a very ominous teaser image.
Scary.
Involving some silhouettes. Post it in mod channel for Lucky to get.
Let me go look at it real quick.
Everybody tweeted it. But yeah, we've got 5 new designs.
Neat.
They are going for very classy, ominous silhouettes. That's pretty cool. We'll see what's up. I know I don't watch as much VTubers as I used to, but you know they always have some fun stuff. They had a very big collab of Gartic Phone recently that I've watched and loved. That was pretty cool.
VTubers continue to be big, and I'm okay with this.
Yeah. It's interesting. And, you know, EN really, really blew up. We've talked about that before. Like, they really fucking exploded, so. It's good to see come up. But, yeah, I think that's only the other said that. My brain actually processed that very recently as I saw Hollow EN Omen trending on Twitter. Good job, y'all. So that's funny. One of the other things trending is MegaCon Orlando 2021.
MegaCon?
Where I believe I remember that I think I saw Ame tweet something that she did a virtual panel at the convention, which is pretty wild if you think about it. Like you said, VTubers going strong. It's a funny old world. But yeah, if we've kind of run out of steam on subjects, you know, we're at almost nearly 3 hours ish.
Mm-hmm. Wanted to call it good.
Yep. All right, cool. Lucky's got to go read stuff, and I got to go watch stuff. So,
Yeah.
actually, I'm kind of sweaty. Really. It's been hot lately. It doesn't help, like I said, those couple of times the power goes out for a little bit. It gets a little. I've only got one vent, and it's kind of small, so it gets a little stuffy in here. We turn off my fans.
Not the fans.
But yeah, it seems like it's time to do the old wind down. The old wind down goes a little something like this. If you're watching this video on YouTube and you like it, be sure to give it a like. I always like to call out how many people YouTube says we have concurrent viewers versus how many likes. Currently, we have 14 viewers and 6 likes. I'll give you some more credit than that. Those numbers aren't the same. This deeply disappoints me. I will curse you forever and cast you into the loss to deal with financial zombies if you don't up those likes. Do it now.
Not financial zombies. They'll tell you how your portfolio is not up to speed. You need to invest.
Invest. Yeah, it's going up. It's going up because I called people out. We're at like 8.
Nice.
But yeah, so smash that like button, as they say. Ooh, wow, you just... I know it only takes like 2 bullets, but that was like 7.
Well, like I said.
Bullets.
Oops.
Yeah, this is that segment. I remember this bit. That guy's very shooty. But yes. In addition to likes, you can leave a comment on this video down below. Stream is still live. Obviously, you can chat with us along and check out the chat archive. But we accept post-show comments as well. You can also join our Discord. That link is, as always, in the video description and on our channel page. It's a great time to hang out and ask questions and do stuff. Have fun. Watch things. People. Yell about it. And, obviously, if you are new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel for more What's Up, more of our flagship podcast, Let's Like FGO. New episode out now.
Watch it.
And lots of other various videos and stuff we've got going on. And you can also support us by joining our channel memberships, getting access to emotes and membership badges. Which usually when I mention that, people who are members of the channel like to do that. Yeah, to show off all the emotes in chat. The more memberships we get, it's been a little bit since we got some new ones, but the more memberships we get, the more emote slots we get, so the more fun we can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Someday Omega will remember to make those membership badges transparent or something.
Or something.
Listen, Studio has night mode now. It's great. It just means that the stars stand out even more. Love the night mode, though. It's great. Stops hurting my eyes. Always so crazy when you can go from, like, watching YouTube in night mode to, like, YouTube Studio in bright white, especially when I have to upload videos at 4 in the morning or whatever. Anyway, join our channel memberships. Maybe we'll have to do less at 4 in the morning. Also, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to the episode in audio format as a downloadable for as little as $1 a month or $10 a year. At higher levels, you can get access to polls and video releases early. You can watch all of our shows that are recorded live. And lots of other fun stuff, and it really helps us out.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's basically everything. So I think that's the end of the show there, Lucky.
All right then, everyone. See y'all next weekend.